G'day guys and welcome back to Casual Rage. Prepare to start the show, R2. This is where the fun begins. G'day guys and welcome to Casual Rage 136, where we casually rage out about the topics of the week. I'm sorry I'm a little late. I did mention that I was going to probably start a little bit later. I literally woke up about 45 minutes ago as I was on side scrollers this morning. We didn't finish until 4 a.m. And then by the time I actually got to sleep, I think it was around 5:30, something like that. And I'm a bit tired, a little bit tired. I'll say that much. But it was a really good stream, I feel, last night, this morning. We talked about Star Wars, of course. It wasn't really a debate. It was more just a discussion, I think, on side scrollers, of course. I think Stuttering Craig did a really good job of mediating the conversation. There was a couple of moments in there, if you were watching, where I wanted to just unleash. And I kind of held myself back because we did get told before the stream started that this isn't really a debate. It's more just going to be a conversation. So there was some moments where I couldn't really hold my tongue, but I felt like I did well. And I felt like we all sort of did really well on that stream. And I kind of got a few people thinking too. With some of the things that I said. I know that Tim was there and Open Airlock Policy, and he did really well, I feel. And again, I feel like it was just a really good discussion. And yeah, so that's why I'm late. That's why I pushed the stream back. I did originally only push it back half an hour, but then because I woke up literally 15 minutes before the stream had to start, I needed to get some shit done. Go for a shower and get some food into me. So we are starting a little bit later today. For this, for just the opening of this Casual Rage, I'm going to talk a little bit about sort of some of the things that we talked about on side scrollers. But we'll get to that in a minute. Let me quickly say hello to the chat. We've got Dan Blackroyd with tracking fobs. Yes, I did bring up the tracking fobs. I did also find a way to bring in hyperspace into the conversation. I made my usual points in regards to the fact that George was able to make Star Wars for normies, but also keep lore continuity and canon in check for the hardcore fans. And I also and I think this got a lot of them thinking when I actually mentioned that the EU was canon, and I hate the people that say that it was never canon, and then made the point that how can you decanonize something that was never canon? Sorry, excuse me a second. Oh, my God. I hope you didn't hear any of that, actually. I feel like I might have not muted in time. But yes, we've got Corey in the chat. We've got Pro Jack fan in the chat. We've got the Fractured Filter here. He says, hail to the chat, and Rhino. Side Scrollers was a fun watch. First time catching that show. It's pretty good. I just don't get to see it because it's like 2 o'clock in the morning when that starts for me. This is the second time I've been on there. You guys did great. Wish I could have snuck in. Anyway, have a great stream. Catch you on the replay. Roll your dog. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We've also got, I just quickly want to get through everyone because I do have a guest here to have a chat with us as well. Cell Shade is here. I did see this comment. Ming Moza Manga. Okay, let's see it. It's nothing on Tokyo Ghoul, but yeah, let's see it. And I did also see this. Now, apparently Adam he's only on there like once a week now. So it's Craig, Blabs, and Travis. But yeah, like I said, I don't mind watching the show, but it's hard to catch it on the replay when there's so much other stuff that I've got going on. Melissa Lord is here. The Nuisance Bird is in the chat. We've got Open Airlock Policy, who was also on that stream, which was pretty awesome. We've got Lethal for 2 says, you downloaded the wrong game. Roll your dog. Yes, I downloaded the wrong game. Soul Assassin, yes, it's a later show today. Darth Scipio, Anthony's here. Fear of FEMA is in the chat. Nitrium. Mr. Grant Gregory, finally live. Yes, finally here. Hopefully Raging Rhino gets into Rage Zone. No more Mr. Nice Rhino. That's right. That's right. Sith Assassin trailers here. Evening all. The Vader Fanatic. Man, I'm so tired that registering. Come on, Rhino. You can do this. Jets Parks. I don't know. I hope. Good to see you. And yes, Tuscan Bob. Star Wars is for losers now. All right. We've also got the Sentinels here and Tillium's in the chat as well. Start again, Rhino. Not this time. Not this time. Because we do have a guest here to talk a little bit about what did happen this morning on Side Scrollers, and let's bring him in.
Hello, what have we here?
Hello, Tim.
Hey, what's going on?
How you doing?
Oh, not bad.
Yeah, drinking?
No, not anymore. I quit about an hour ago.
Okay. A little bit tipsy?
Coffee in the morning. Not anymore, but
no.
We probably did about, I don't know, 12-pack. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good go at it.
Yeah. And my son and his friends are going down to the strip. And I got to go in for 4 hours tomorrow. There's some stuff I got to get done. And then we'll probably do it again tomorrow night. And then I think he needs to take off on Saturday because he drove this time. So trying to make the most of it. But yeah. He wasn't even awake when we did that thing this morning. So because we were playing like Nintendo. Speaking of side scrolling, we were playing Contra, some Super Mario, all this stuff on this bootleg system. It looks like one of the mini Nintendos, but it's bootleg because it has hundreds of games on it. Yeah, we did that till in the wee hours of the morning. I'm the type, you know me, I sleep 4 or 5 hours a day. I woke up, made coffee, pulled my wife out of bed and said, go to work. And then I just I did that stream. I did a live stream before we went on there because I saw those idiots. Yeah, I'm like, no, this has to be addressed. And then we did that stream. And then we just started partying all day. And I took a shower. I shaved. I shit the triple SH. And, you know, here I am.
Nice.
So,
well, thanks for coming on. How many hours
did you sleep?
I slept, well, what? It was 6, so 5 hours, 5.5 hours. But, like, I didn't get to sleep until, like, 5:30, 6 o'clock. And then woke up at, like, no, sorry. So it was about 6 hours.
That's way more than I usually get. But I'm a different breed. I mean,
yeah,
I just am. Takes years of training yourself, you know.
Yeah, I'm a really bad morning person. So not that it's even fucking morning when I woke up, but the fact that I didn't get to sleep. Fuck, I got something in my eye. The fact that I didn't get to sleep until sort of nearly when the sun came up, fucking hurt me.
Yeah.
So we were on Side Scrollers last night having a Star Wars discussion. How do you feel that it went?
Well, I'm not a big fan of big panels.
Mm-hmm.
And it was bigger than I thought it would be. Zing. No, but it was a lot more people than I thought. And of course, you know, the hosts really weren't saying much, and that's great. You know, it was everyone else, but it's just, I don't know, too many people, and I kind of get anxiety like that, like whatever. But,
Yeah.
you know, I think we were on very good behavior because, you know, like that Travis guy, let me tell you this, I could never, ever, ever stream with anyone like that on a regular basis because he and that other guy pulled out all the fallacies that Alora and I have debunked again and again by using George Lucas quotes. Oh, you know, the prequels were criticized and George said this and George said that. And it's like, you know, guys, we've debunked this time and time again. It's like, just knock it off. Like in a forum like that, you, with so many people, you only have so much time to correct them. And, you know, you just want to call them a fucking idiot to their face. And it's like, now we're going to be nice because we were invited on. But yeah, that guy like kept annoying me. It's like, dude, quit your smug attitude, and you don't even know what you're talking about. So it was fine for what it was. I think it was entertaining for people watching.
Yeah.
You know, but
the thing that kind of got me a little bit with some of those fallacies and some of the things that they said, what like I was watching you when they were saying some of those things, like, but all the things that sort of got me was when they were saying that, you know, Vader and Kylo Ren's stories were pretty much the same thing.
Oh, shit.
You know, and their redemptions. You know, when I mentioned that, you know, Kylo forgives himself using Han Solo as a hologram or whatever.
Great
and then they're like, yeah, but Vader forgived himself. And it's like, did you guys even watch the movies? Did you even actually understand? That's right. And then there was also the thing about the droids, like how we were talking about how Rey gets everything by the end of it. And then they're like, but Luke gets everything. And then they're talking about like his training on Dagobah and like how and I failed to mention, and I thought about this afterwards. It's like when they mentioned that Luke gets everything and he does this small amount of training. Yeah, and he still goes and he still fails. That's the thing. He goes to face Vader and he fails in that confrontation.
Yep.
This is where like, and I know Anna was sort of the same. It's like, are you seriously trying to use that as your argument? Yeah, I spoke to Blabs afterwards, and because Travis is one of their
regulars.
Regulars, sorry, thank you.
Yeah.
And, apparently, because a lot of the people that were supposed to come on, that were supposed to be on that side of it, reneged, he didn't really have a say in it, but he decided to try and play that side.
Right.
Even though he doesn't really care that much. So I think what he did is because he doesn't care that much, he sees the things that have been being said out there, and he was those as opposed to that's actually what he thinks.
Regurgitating.
But the funny thing is that he was making a lot of those points that fucking shit me. You know,
yeah,
a lot of those points that don't make sense. I really feel like I got what was his name, Darth. Call?
Yeah.
Call. Darth Call. I've really, like, when I said, how do you decanonize something that's not, like, that was never canon? He's like, oh, that's a really good point.
Well, I had a million points to make, but there's just no time. It's like, look, if you had adapted one of the expanded universe stories, maybe Legacy of the Force, because everyone would have been around the right age, whatever, then it would be new to people who don't know the EU. The people who do know the EU would have been like, wow, they're adapting it. I already know the story, but I get to see it on screen. Everyone would have been happy. But that's not what they did. They never intended to do that. So, you know, hashtag without respect, we reject.
Accept.
Right? Yeah, accept. Yeah.
Yeah. I also loved it when I said, like, how do tracking fobs work? Just straight out. And I even said, like, people in the chat that know me are going to laugh at me. But, like, I mentioned that. And apparently some people that were watching, because I didn't notice this, but all that side of the panel, their faces just went, like, because you can't answer it.
Right.
You just can't answer that question. Is it detecting DNA? Is DNA transmitting a signal?
I think Pablo tried to explain it one time, and it's like, you don't even know what you're saying, Pablo.
Did he?
Yeah, this is like a while back, like a couple of years ago. It's like, whatever. He's getting paid to do that.
Mm.
He can't say, "Oh yeah, that doesn't make sense." He'll get fired. But it's stupid. It's like, if you're gonna do that, then like actually have a tracking device or something. And I don't know. I don't even want to write it for him. We've talked about that a million times.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. The panel itself, it was fine. I'm sure the people watching were really entertained. But for me, it's like, no one's ever going to get convinced that set in their ways like that, let's compromise. And yeah, you can't compromise with somebody that writes articles like CBR last week, the EU is dead, accept it. And it's like, oh, wow. Okay, that's not an extremist position. So for me, it's over. I like all the stuff that's out there for years. I don't want it to get fixed. I just want it to stop.
Yeah.
Just stop, guys. Stop making it. Let it die for 5 years. Yeah, let it die for 5 years. And then maybe the world won't be as insane as it is now. I mean,
yeah. Well, the funny thing is when you mention compromise, like, I don't want to compromise with those people.
No,
I don't want to come to a compromise where we've still got anything Disney Star Wars still out there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny when Ben said, if you decanonize what Disney have done, you're going to what do you say? Like, exclude a massive chunk of the fan base. And my exact thing to that was, well, they did that when they did the EU.
Mm-hmm.
You basically decanonized the EU, said fuck you to all of the EU fans, and push them to the side. So what's the difference with this?
Yeah.
Well,
you notice one thing we completely avoided talking about, and I consciously did. Like, I'm like, if I mention this name, the stream extends for 30 minutes by default. It was Dave Filoni. Yeah. I totally purposely avoided talking about him.
I brought him up. I said, there was one point where I said that he has been completely disloyal to George Lucas. George wanted Ahsoka dead by Order 66, and he, after he sold it, he's like, yes, I don't have to kill her now. I brought up.
And he's made some comments like, oh yeah, I snuck this in and snuck that in, with that stupid grin he always has on. But here's the thing with Dave. It's not just the Disney lovers. It's like people, quote unquote, on our side have defended him again and again as well. And it's like, why, guys? He makes all those smug comments going back 10 years. He's done the women's conference. He's made shit stories. He's self-inserted himself.
Yeah.
Right. With dialogue. It's like this. I mean, that's just stupid. George was that Baron Papanoida, whatever the name of the character was, but it was just a background character or whatever. It's like it wasn't a guy with a speaking role, and he saved Mando with the blaster from the spiders, and that guy's disgusting. I don't know why so many people defend him.
Well, I don't get it either, because there's all those things that he said that aren't really attached to Star Wars, like the women's conference and stuff like that. I mean, obviously he's talking about Star Wars, but then if you actually look at the content that he's making, it's not this thing to be praised. It's certainly not anything close to what George Lucas created, or I would assume what George Lucas wants for Star Wars. So it's one of those things for me where it's like, how can you possibly defend this guy when it's kind of like, I think I said this too, like in regards to the Ahsoka book, right? And how they retconned the entire Ahsoka book in the Tales of the Jedi, that new Tales of the Jedi that they've made, based on the fact that they said that when they're decanonizing the EU, they're going to actually have it all connected, all the books, comics, everything. And then they come out and they just start retconning the books that they've actually come out with. You know?
Yeah, they meant to do that from the beginning.
Yeah.
It was just to throw out the old. That's, they knew they weren't going to hold to that. I mean, they don't care. They have no standards. They have no consistency. They just want to tell what they want to tell in the moment. And that and Dave is the worst about that.
Yeah, he really is.
I mean,
well, I hate he was an apprentice to George Lucas. He knows Star Wars better than most that are there. He's going to do it right, or he is doing it right. This is where, like, again, with somebody like Star Wars Theory that praises the shit out of Dave Filoni and thinks that he should be the president of Lucasfilm. This is why, for me, when Kathleen Kennedy does finally step down, go, get fired, whatever the case may be, nothing's going to change, because it's still Dave Filoni's still going to be there. The writers group is most likely probably still going to be there. The people that are creating Star Wars, it's not Kathleen Kennedy. She might be, putting her fingers in a couple of different pies over there, but she's not creating the stuff. She's just saying, we have to make sure that in this show we have this. And then the creators are doing that.
Yep.
So it's it's like I said at the very beginning, Disney Star Wars is an abomination.
Yeah.
Of what Star Wars actually is.
That was a great way to start the conversation. Seriously. I mean, that's the position. So
yeah.
But hey, really quick note, everyone share the stream on all platforms. Let's get this chat full, guys. Let's get it to 40, 45 people. Let's go.
Yep. Fucking oath. Let's do it. But yeah, like, I know. The hard thing is when you're talking with people like that and they're gaslighting you on certain topics or certain elements of it, like they were trying to. With the ray training thing and all of those other things, it's hard. Like, it was really hard for me not to just unload. There was moments there where I was absolutely steaming from the ears, just ready to blow up and go, are you fucking serious? But again, Craig said that he didn't want to have it as a debate. He wanted to have it more as a discussion. So I sort of tried to hold back a little bit, but I wanted to blow up at some of the things that they were saying.
Oh, I know. I'm telling you, man, it was pretty rough.
I mean, I thought it was still a good stream. I think it was still a good discussion. And I feel like if you actually watch the chat, a lot of them think that Star Wars is fucking dead. A lot of them think that, there's not much there to save anymore.
Nope.
There isn't.
I mean, you could come up with all these things. Oh, it was a dream, but it still happened. That's the problem. It happened, and it ran a lot of people off, and they lost people's trust. That's the problem.
But I also it's one thing to have Luke wake up and say that it's all a dream and all of this kind of thing, and that's just for the sequels, right? There's now all these Disney Plus shows out there that have, for me, and I mentioned this, they've contradicted law, the rules of the universe.
Yep.
So moving forward, like when there was two people on there, I think it was Tom and Ben, they said, I would jump forward 1,000 years or 2,000 years. You can do that, and you can try and then tell a story 1,000 years in the future, right? But the problem is that the law contradictions that they've now brought into place and actually made essentially canon, then fucks the universe anyway. So go for it. You're still going to have these issues moving forward, and those issues don't just underlie in the sequels. There's these issues throughout every single Disney Plus show that they've done. You know,
Yep.
I think I brought up the thing in Andor with Luthen's store, right? And again, no one on that side could answer, because I kept making the point that you can't use your headcanon because headcanon isn't a thing. That's fucking some stupid thing that you guys came up with to justify how something works in your own fucking head.
Yeah.
What's in your head doesn't work in other people's heads, so you can't use headcanon because it's bullshit. But, you know, I made the point about the Mortis Arc tablets. What, did Luthen go and kill the wolves so that he could take those tablets that they projected in front of Ezra? And all of that sort of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem. You'll never convince people like that of anything. They want to like what they want to like. I want to like what I want to like.
Yeah, okay, Chris. Star Wars isn't dead. You're talking about it in this stream. I get what you're saying. I don't think Star Wars will ever, like, die on the fact of like people talking about it and stuff like that, but it's relevance, it's relevance in the culture. Like, people think that the sequels are going to get better with time. They're going to, you know, it's like a fine wine, it's going to get better with age. I disagree, because from what I've seen, it's actually gotten worse already. Time's going by, and more people are actually seeing how bad these things are.
Well,
more people are seeing how bad the shows are, not just the sequels. So yeah, we'll still talk
here's
about
an
it.
analogy. Here's an analogy. Like, Jeffrey Epstein is dead, but we're still talking about his actions and what happened, right? So, you know, I think when you say dead doesn't mean that no one's talking about it. It's dead, in Rhino's opinion, from the standpoint that it's creating anything relevant or anything that measures up to the original. That's what he means by dead. Not to put words in your mouth, but
no, 100%. But also too, it's dead on the fact that those deep lore points that the hardcore fans recognize and take note of aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and I've said this a million times. George Lucas was able to create Star Wars for normies, and they could sit there and just enjoy on the surface, the flashy lights and everything of it. But then he was able to leave essentially lore and continuity and canon in check for the hardcore fans, so that when they did dive deep into a certain element, it made sense within the universe.
Yeah.
The rules are there. Whereas Disney don't give a fuck about that. And I think that's evident, massively evident. You know, we talked about that on Side Scrollers, how the people that they get to make Star Wars don't give a fuck about Star Wars. Tony Gilroy for the Andor series comes out and says, I didn't want to put droids and aliens in the forefront of the series because, I don't know, he didn't say this exactly, but basically because it felt more like Star Wars. So let's just put it all in the background.
Yeah.
And then he comes out and says, I was never a fan. I fucking hated Star Wars. It was never my thing. And you got Leslie Headland coming out and saying, I like all the Star Wars. Like, these are the people that they're employing to
She read Heir to the
Wars.
Empire. She read Heir to the Empire. They all say that too.
Yeah.
Read Heir to the Empire. I'm a real fan.
Yeah. So
Gilroy, don't forget, he said, "Oh, George told me that he liked Rogue One." You know, like, okay. And George is never going to dispute that. He doesn't.
But he also said that The Last Jedi was He also said that The Last Jedi was a beautiful film, beautifully made film. Like, is that him giving it? Yeah, that's exactly what that is. It's to me, if George really did actually like what he was seeing, let's say with the sequels, I'm sure he would have said a lot more about it than just that. A lot more about it. And he's clearly come out and said, you know, in that school thing that he did, that school interview thing that he did, the 6 movies are mine. They've gone off on a different direction. They're not his. That's not his philosophy. That's not his mythology. I think it's pretty evident that George is done with what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, that's actually a question I've got for you, Tim. Sorry, go on. What were you going to say?
No. You maybe ask him what I was going to say. Go ahead.
What would be the one thing that you'd want to ask George Lucas? If you could ask him a question and he had to answer honestly, what would you want to know from George?
You know, I think we either talked about this on stream or in a private chat whenever that, I think it was when you revealed that from that, what is it, Star Wars culture or Star Wars hub or some shit like that. Honestly, I don't think it would be about Star Wars at all. It would be more about, you know, being an independent guy, like always going against Hollywood. I'd probably come up with a really good question about that, about how tough was it, especially like in 76 when he's trying to get the film made and everyone's against him, and you know, he got really sick. And I'd probably talk more about that than specific stuff about the franchise, because I think we have all the answers in all the interviews he's given. That freaking book, man, the archives, every answer you want from George Lucas is in that book. That motherfucking book is 600 pages long or more.
Yeah.
I'm only on like page 120, and I've already, you know, after 40 years of Star Wars fandom, I've learned so much more in that interview. Amazing book. Get the small one if you can't afford the big one. It's so great. So I'd probably ask him something personally about the filmmaking. How did he get through it? You know, fighting against the Writers Guild, Directors Guild, all that stuff.
You know, that I just thought of it then. You know, a question that I'd want to actually ask George is the criticism for the sequel trilogy. Where did that come from? Did that come from fans, or did that come from the media?
Yeah.
You know,
the media. We covered this back in February. I think we had a stream when the guy, what's his name, Ahmed Best.
Yep.
Remember when he did that interview and all that?
Yep.
And then they said, "Oh, we gave him a spot on the show, and we treated him with respect and all this." No, we did a stream on this, and we debunked all that. I found articles from 99, 2000, and it was all the websites and the news outlets that were trashing it. And stuff.
And it was the same with Jake Lloyd. Jake Lloyd, it was all the press, right? But then it was also the school kids in his school that gave him a bit of shit, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like it wasn't Star Wars fans. And I made that point when we were on the panel that every single person sitting on that panel likes the prequels. Every single person there said that they liked the prequels. So based on the fact that everybody was piling on, there were people that fucking hated it. There would have had to have at least been one in the 7 people that were actually on that panel last night.
Yeah.
There had to be one, but there wasn't. You know?
Yep. And they always had liked it, you know?
Yeah. I also just want to bring this up because Cellshade says, I like Robot Head's video on Rian Johnson's directing and camera work for The Last Jedi is even shit. I actually found it funny because last night on Side Scrollers, Ben was mentioning how he thought that the fights in the sequels were better than any fights from the prequels and the choreography of it and everything. And then I had to play Robot Head's video of the throne room fight in The Last Jedi and say, how can you possibly say this is good choreography?
Right.
Like and this is the thing, they on the surface, like to me, Ben came across as one of those normie viewers where it's like, oh, it's there. Lightsabers. Awesome. It's just in front of me. Awesome. 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 And it's funny how he came back after I mentioned the thing about the lightsabers and he says, you know, oh, you just want to see lightsabers. I know he was just trolling, but to me, you're more the one that, is seal clapping when you see a lightsaber on screen and there's no depth to it other than just that, Funny
Yep.
as. But yeah, that was last night. If you do want to go and rewatch that episode of Side Scrollers, of course, you can go find it over on Side Scrollers. If there are any mods in the chat, if you can drop the link, that'd be appreciated. I did like how big the chat was. It was actually it got to around the 300 people watching.
Yeah, he has a lot of subscribers and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it was good.
I have no idea what he normally talks about, but yeah, that was a Star Wars stream.
Retro video games. I know they talk about that. They do talk just general pop culture, topics, the sort of the trending topics and things like that. They'll probably on the next Side Scrollers, they'll probably talk about the Lizzo being sued thing or something along, they just whatever's sort of topical is what they sort of talk about. But no, Disney Seal, I am Rhino. I will clap now. Yeah. But yeah, anything else that you want to bring up about last night's stream or this morning's stream?
No, just Travis was insufferable again. That's about it, really. I don't know. And that Ben guy made kind of an offensive comment about oh, you don't like it because it doesn't have lightsabers. It's it's like you don't even know us and you're making that comment, How can you? Again, I didn't say anything about him oh yeah, this and that and blah blah. You look like a soy boy. And,
yeah,
I didn't say anything like that. And he says, oh, because it doesn't have. Well, we didn't say that.
Yeah,
we've never said that. In fact, we made a tweet last night that they're talking about on Acolyte, bragging about how it's not going to have blasters.
Yeah, I've got that article here to talk about, actually.
Actually, if you read the article, they even say guns. They don't even say blasters.
Yeah.
Because, guns are bad,
Yeah.
You can kill someone with anything else. Just you can drive a car through an audience, a crowd, whatever, and kill people, and it's not as bad as a gun. We've learned that in America. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, that's about it. So I'll probably dip because I got to start chilling and getting to bed because I got to go in for a half day, like I said, and party again, and then spend all the time I can with my son and, get back to content creation, get back to Iron Age with Daniel James creating the universe and some big announcements coming up in the next couple of months. The logo for the name of the project, the name of the universe is done. Only a few people know what it is.
I don't even know.
I mean, I'll get with you in the next couple of weeks. Daniel knows.
Yeah.
Spacing Crew knows. My family, they give a rat's ass about that type of stuff anyway. But, they're like, oh, that's nice, honey. Thank you. But Daniel is a badass. He's, I told him my vision and 2 days later it's there. It's like, holy shit, Daniel, we're going all the way to the top and you're getting a cut because he's very talented. And I think it ties into his career, the way that he's been able to do this stuff. But I'll dip out. Thanks for having the chat.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, it was
good to have you on Casual Rage again.
Yeah. Sometime before the summer's out or the winter's out for you, we'll have to get everyone back together and for sure, do something fun. But have a good night and chat. I'll probably see you in the chat later.
Awesome. Thanks, dude. Bye. Everyone, go and subscribe to Open Airlock Policy. Thank you, Dan Blackroyd, for dropping the link. Last night was interesting. I'm still right. At the end of the day, I'm still right. Anyway, let's take a look, see what some of you guys are saying. The Acolyte is going to be so bad. And I think that's been made fairly evident to anyone paying attention based on the fact of how they are promoting it, how they're advertising it, and of course, who's in charge of it. You know, the Queen Kathleen Kennedy got Leslie Headland in there to basically work on this stuff. And you know what's most important to her: diversity, representation, and you know, I mean, you just have to watch the the Star Wars Celebration panel. You know, it's not about good or evil; it's about the patriarchy and shutting that down or something. Whatever that actually means, I don't know, because patriarchy, as far as I'm concerned, isn't even a thing. Oh, come on. It's not even real. What? The Acolyte? We're going to talk a little bit about that too. Fucking Allura. Brilliant. All right, let's talk about that thing that Tim did just mention. Let me bring this up really quickly. The Acolyte actor. The Acolyte actress, Duffin, I don't know, Keen, claims Disney Plus Star Wars series features a lack of guns. Now, I'm not going to read through the entire article, but it's kind of funny that exactly what Tim said. First of all, they mention it as, what is this? It's fucking for a game, and it looks like a butt in a pot. It's kind of funny how, again, it's so, first of all, the fact that they're calling them guns and not blasters, you know, tells you one thing about the people that are actually working on this. You know, they've probably even made it a point to all the actors and actresses and everybody involved saying, like, you know, we're not going to have as many guns because, you know, there's obviously all of this stuff about guns being bad. But that's what's important. It's kind of like how the representation and everything is really important. Fish face. Well, I don't know. Do that. Let me put this bad boy out. But yeah, like, I don't know. Keen then revealed there's a lack of guns, which I personally, as someone who loves fighting and stunts and stuff, I love, because it gives you that body to body, that choreography, that dance feeling. Yeah, you know what was better in regards to that is like the Duel of the Fates. You know, the choreography behind that. I wouldn't necessarily go so far that it gives a dance feeling, but that was choreographed really well. It actually looks like a real fight as opposed to just I point and I shoot, which is kind of an easy cop-out in a way. Really? I mean, this is Star Wars at the end of the day. There are blasters, and there's constantly blasters being fired throughout all of original Star Wars, whether or not it's at a Jedi, you know, or at just somebody else. We got a lot of that body to body. That's just stupid. That's a really stupid statement. And again, it makes me just think to myself that these people, there's almost, when they come out and say stuff like this, it's almost like they're indoctrinated into these are the talking points when you're interviewed or whatever the case may be. This is what you've got to, mention. You've got to mention that there's no guns. We're going to make a stand against the gun laws. It's just a joke to me. And whatever. What does this have to do with Star Wars? But, the other thing too is that the Acolyte is not even apparently supposed to be happening. Like, it's not even really a thing. Now, I don't usually talk about this person. I don't watch this person, and I really don't care about this person. The only real reason why I'm bringing this up is because OG Star Wars posted it, and I did think it was funny. And Alora also put out a short on this on her YouTube channel. If you're not subscribed to OG Star Wars, of course, go over and subscribe to OG Star Wars. But based on, I don't know, the only thing that I can sort of think is that based on Doomcock's rumors, right, this chick here, Stephanie Genesack, believes that the Acolyte and I guess the Lando series are fish face. And the Acolyte don't actually exist. Sparrow. I got to get Darth Melvin on here one time soon. Let's take a listen to this.
So, if you're this lady who stalks me,
Alora,
and I guess she was so angry today on somebody else's channel, angry about me calling her out for it.
I just want to say, get off the weed.
That she could barely form a coherent sentence. I'm not looking for the video because I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do to her what she does to me.
Except she actually does.
Okay. Even though it would be kind of fun to bait her just to see her absolutely lose her shit, I'm not going to do it. She would not understand when Iger says we are slowing down production of Star Wars films and TV shows.
So hang on. Iger did say that they're going to sort of take a step back. This was after the Rise of Skywalker. We're talking, 2019? We're now 2023, and they've come out with multiple TV shows. They've announced 3 new movies. So the slowing down period, so get out of the past, Stephanie. Get out of the past. That slowing down period is now over. It's done. They're now moving forward with whatever this is that they're actually doing. So what you're saying right now is, I'm sorry, but completely wrong. Completely wrong.
Quality over quantity. She doesn't get it.
Quality over quantity. No. They are doing quantity over quality. And that's evident, fucking evident on what we're seeing with Disney Plus and the Disney Plus shows. In 3 years, what have we had? In the last 3 years, what have we had? You want to go through the list? So let's see if this is slowing down, as she claims that Bob Iger said, which he did say, right? But back around the 2019 mark. Let's take a look. We had Mando Season 1, Mando Season 2, and Mando Season 3. We've had Obi-Wan Kenobi. We've had The Book of Boba Fett. We've had Andor. We've had Clone Wars Season 7. We've had the Tales of the Jedi. We've had I'm missing something. The Bad Batch. We've also got, just about to release, Ahsoka. In 3 years, they've released 10 things. 10. Is that slowing down? Like, allow your eyes and your brain to register. Yeah, okay, what he said. But then the fact that what he said means nothing when you look at what they've done. You know, there is a saying, actions speak louder than words. Do as I say, not as I do. Oh, the Star Wars Kids show. I don't really count that. But 11. Oh, that's correct. 2 seasons of The Bad Batch. There's the 11th. Yeah, I don't count Jedi Adventures. That's just this kids show. Like, that's nothing. Star Wars Visions, if you want to count that. If we're just talking about stuff that's supposed to be in their canon, let's avoid Star Wars Visions. But you could count that, I guess. The Bad Batch is 10 out of 10. Hell lit. And then what about the games? You've had Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor. And, of course, their mobile games and shit like that. But in 3 years, they've released 10 shows. No movies. 10 seasons of something. 11 seasons of something. Yeah, no, I got Clone Wars Season 7. Battlegrounds. Let's continue.
So to her, the Acolyte is real because
So she believes that the Acolyte isn't real, and she's saying that Allura believes that the Acolyte is real. Now, why would we think that the Acolyte is real? Why would we think that? Maybe it's because at Star Wars Celebration, they were talking about it with multiple people that are involved in it, the director, the actors. Maybe it's because we've seen set photos. Maybe it's even been because we've been told that they've actually started production. We got the pre-production budget. Like, we need to save this. We need to save this for when the Acolyte actually drops. This is laughable. What purpose would there be for Lucasfilm to release all of this stuff? Now, I know we've had Lucasfilm fucking do stuff and then shelve it, and then we never see it. It never sees the light of day. Or we've seen people, directors come in, hired, fired. There's been a heap of that, right? If you have been following it, which I think most of you have been, there's been a heap of that, right? But what in her mind makes her think that the Acolyte isn't real? It's laughable.
because one of the TK brothers, said it was.
No, who's these TK brothers? Help me out here, chat. I don't know who these TK brothers are, but whoever they are, and they said that it was real, like the Acolyte, is nothing in comparison to the fact that we've seen set photos. We've seen that it's not just fucking one of the TK brothers. There's the director that's come out. There's all the actors that have come out. I dropped a video the other day about it, and we talked again about that. I don't know her name, the black chick at fucking Star Wars Celebration that said, like, yes, I'm the queen, yes. We need a strong woman because Star Wars has been patriarchal. Speaking of the devil, Allura, I loved your short. It was fantastic. Actually, hold on a second. Laura, I'm going to shoot you the link. You don't have to come in if you don't want to. I understand. But if you want to come in and talk about this with me, you can. We won't talk for too long. You can come and go if you need to go. But there you go. So Alora thinks that it's real. She thinks that it doesn't. Why? Because Doomcock told her that it doesn't? Because Doomcock told her that the Civil War is real and this has got nothing to do with John and Dave? Whatever happened to Dave leaving as well? Dave leaving Lucasfilm. I mean, John leaving Lucasfilm. Whatever happened to that rumor? Yeah, this is what you see when you come on.
Okay. To her, the Ray movie's real.
To her, the Ray movie's real. Again, Star Wars Celebration, they paraded, they pranced out Daisy Ridley. What gives you any sort of thought? Is it Sparrow? Sparrow? Yes, he's right, 1 in 100, if that, when it comes to Star Wars. I don't know about all the other shit, but he seems to just do the same thing. So she thinks that the Ray movie isn't real. Out of all of the things that they announced, at Star Wars Celebration, the one thing that I actually think that we are going to get is the Ray movie.
Hello, what have we here?
Hi there.
Hello.
Well, thank you for having me on. Wow, I didn't know you were going to talk about this little situation here.
I couldn't help myself.
Uh-huh.
I watched this and I watched your short, and I only keep up with what this idiot says from you, really, because you stalk her.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Stalker.
So far, based on what we've seen, is there anything that you want to say?
Well, I logged in and then you brought this clip up and I'm like, okay. But how this started is that people tell me, this woman this is not the first hit video she's done on me or spoken about me in such a way. And I guess it's not going to be the last. So she says I'm stalking, yet she's the one who's been doing videos about me for a very long time.
Yep.
And speaking of stalking, every single one of us are a black pill. So in order for her to keep up on her black pill gab, she needs to go and watch these videos. She needs to know what we're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yet she says, I just leave him alone. I just leave her alone and blah, 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 blah. What happened was I was following the rumor, of course, because I always keep track of these rumors are going out. It gives, me some information on what's going on with these rumors and stuff like that. And it was about Kennedy being locked out, not allowed back at headquarters, either because she's fired or suspended. I can't keep up with which one they're talking about at the moment. And so I shared a clip of her video. I didn't mention her, but I shared a clip of the video talking about that. And I'm like, I'll say it again. If Kennedy was really locked out, this would be a news opportunity. Media would be all over it because she's the head of Lucasfilm. She is working for Disney. That would be an opportunity for the tabloid media to come in and, have something to rave about. It would be all over the news.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I believe. Because, again, media don't give a shit. They're not, unless Disney's paying them, which you never know, go to conspiracy theories, to keep things hush, they're going to be all over this.
Yep.
And that's my point. I didn't mention her name or anything like that. And then I'm stalking.
Yeah.
So.
No, you're 100% right. And it's the same thing with like what I just mentioned, like Jon Favreau. What happened to the rumor that Jon Favreau's gone? Jon Favreau's, leaving because Kathleen Kennedy keeps meddling. But then, how can Kathleen Kennedy be meddling when she's got no creative control and she's got no control over Lucasfilm?
And she's locked out of headquarters.
And she's exactly. You know, the funny thing is that these rumor mill people and the people that believe it continually contradict themselves. They're constantly going against what the previous rumor was. And this is the funny thing about that is that's how they're able to come out and say, oh, look, I was right. Because when it doesn't matter which way it goes, they've done rumors on both elements of it. So it's like, okay, I was right. But then hang on, you were wrong based on all of this other stuff.
Yeah. And and then she goes on and says, oh, well, I don't even pay attention. Or now she's over here talking about what I like and I don't like. And all this other stuff right here, like, or what I think is real and what not real. First of all, I follow what's being advertised through the own company that's producing the shows. That's where I got the short, because I was like, I'm going to take this video. This is a great opportunity to create a short to prove her ass wrong. Because if it wasn't, if it's a sizzle reel to her, it's not real. And the money, it's not all there, but yet reports have been on it about how much money they've been spending so far in production.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a lot. It's a lot. And so I got the opportunity. I took that video. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to save grace. I'm not even going to talk about her on my own channel. She's not worth it, but I'm going to do this short. Yep. I'm going to take this opportunity. I'm going to do this short. Yep. And, so it's not real to her and it's fake. But then yet, like even recently for the San Diego Comic-Con, they were announcing some more Acolyte stuff.
Yeah.
So tell me, are they going to really, if it's not real, if Bob Iger hasn't given a go on this production, why in the hell is it being advertised everywhere through Lucasfilm and still talked about?
Yeah. And what, like, the other thing that she mentions in here, hold on, let me just play this a little bit more.
This stupid Lando thing is real.
So you think the stupid Lando thing is real? Now, I will say, in regards to the Lando thing, that sort of the news on that sort of died off a little bit. But there's now some news that's come out about that, how Donald Glover and Stephen Glover are now writing the series.
Right.
And we're going to talk a little bit about that too, because Billy D. Williams has made a couple of posts on Twitter recently that make you think that he's going to be involved in the Lando show in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and I haven't really gave my opinion really, except for when I was on someone's channel just recently and stuff, and they talked a little bit about the Lando thing, and I gave my insight from what I seen, but I didn't say if I thought it was real or not. We were just talking in discussion on what happened with so much, the firing and hiring and the writing and what's going on with it and if it's going to come out or not. But I never really gave my full opinion on like, it's real, it's going to happen. I could care less. I hope, in a way, like this is the bitch in me. I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sorry about that. I'm not going to apologize for anything. I want all this to happen, and I want it to all suck. I want it all to be bad. It's not Star Wars. So, I could complain and compare and contrast about how it's not keeping up with the continuity of the movies and stuff like that, and compare it to the original EU and stuff. But in reality, let this shit happen, because it's just going to break continuity. It's just going to break more lore and stuff like that. But maybe that's what needs to happen, is stir the pot, make people mad, so maybe they stop giving money to them.
Yeah, I agree with that. But also, too, there's been a lot of bad, and a lot of people don't really give up on it. Like, Obi-Wan Kenobi, for example. That series comes out. It is an absolute abomination of the story. It's a complete abomination of the characters, and essentially what George Lucas had envisioned for Obi-Wan Kenobi spending time on Tatooine and all of that sort of thing.
Right.
But yet, I don't know how Stephanie feels about that show, but based on what she's saying, I reckon she probably liked it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Tuscan Bob, they just spent about like $50 million on their pre-production and stuff like that. So, man, for something that's not really, sponsored or, approved by Disney, they sure are putting a lot of effort in it for it to come out.
Yep. And by the way, just I don't know if Stephanie's ever going to see this, but if you do happen to see this, Alora isn't the only one that knows or thinks that these things are happening.
Mhm.
I think you'll find the majority of actual people out there actually believe that it's happening. You know why? Because we don't listen and hold on to every whim and word of the fucking doomtard out there, right?
Or the
And
bird sparrow.
or Sparrow or Cameron or any of these fucking idiots that make up their bullshit, right?
Yes.
And we're watching what's actually happening. And we're listening to the actors. We're listening to the directors. We're listening to the people that are actually involved in Lucasfilm, not these fake fucking sources and agents and, you know, all of this kind of shit.
What if these people are really like just setting them up? Like, oh, these people are gullible, so I'm going to tell them everything and they're going to report it. What if this is like, because they're like, there's 3 sources. We got one from Doomcock. We got one from, and then Cameron has a couple, or I don't know, whatever, you know, whatever they're saying. And she believes all this. And what if they're basically the same person posing at these 3 different sources talking shit? Or what if these people are coming together and saying, let's drop another story and feed it to our followers and see if they'll fall for it?
Well, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest, Laura, because there's actually somebody out there that has done that. I would have to get the name. I know Greg might know. I know Lethal does, so I'd just have to check. But there was a guy, and he did videos, and it was really really funny, really in depth in regards to how he showed it. But there was a guy out there in regards to the Star Trek stuff, and he dropped fake rumors, I think, on Reddit, right? And Doomcock reported those rumors as rumors, but in the way that he does it, it comes across as fact. Because, you know, he reads the rumor, he reports it, and then he also says that he's checked with his sources, and his sources have said that, yes, this is actually true, right? So, in a sense, to me, that comes across as reporting it as fact. But I don't think it was 4chan. I think it was somebody else, right? There was a guy out there, or maybe it was. I can't, anyway. But they dropped fake rumors to basically suck in the rumor mill people like Doomcock, and it got him. And it proves that he's full of shit.
Yeah.
It just does. You can't not see it.
What's so sad about this is like, okay, so, you know, I pissed her off. I use a clip. You know, you could clip anyone's video. YouTube has a clip tool.
Yep.
And you could share. So I did that. So she tried to report me for that. Then she tried to report me on Twitter for sharing her clip of her video without her permission. But then if you go look at, you know, like if you ever go watch her videos, she starts with clips from Star Wars and all this other stuff. So I'm like, okay, so rules for me, but not for thee, kind of, or whatever how that goes. And, you know, and then she tried to report me on Twitter as well for, I think I shared one of her tweets or something like that about, because I don't like Kennedy, Kathleen Kennedy. I don't like her approach with Star Wars. And I don't like how much permission and, you know, Disney sanctioning her on all these ideas and all these productions and stuff like that had happened. It's not only her, it's Disney, right? For what's going down with Lucasfilm, but she is also responsible. So I'm not saying she isn't, but I don't like Kennedy. This woman here, all she does, if you look at every single thumbnail of hers, it's Kennedy this, Kennedy that. She must go. She's fired. All of that. And it's like every single time there's something about her. I mean, like I said, we all know who's at fault, what's going on and stuff like that. But man, to go this hard on stalking someone that you don't care for, like I don't care if it's actor or whatever, that right there, I don't know. It's just, she's a psychopath.
Yeah. But also too, she's blind when it actually comes to the entertainment side. She's just out there to sort of try and create the drama. And she, like I said, she just leans on every word and every whim of fucking Doomcock out there. She thinks he's the gospel. He knows it all. And she's unwilling to essentially think that he could ever be wrong.
Yeah.
And like, that's a dangerous place to be. Like for just for herself, like it's a dangerous place to be because you can't just sit there and say, "Oh, yep, okay, good." That he's reported that. See, this is the thing. We're being told, "Oh, you're idiots because you're not taking it with a grain of salt." When he says take it with a grain of salt, she takes nothing Doomcock says with a grain of salt. Nothing.
I think we have just found the secret identity of Doomcock exposed.
Yeah.
Well, I thought people are saying that, like I've heard that she's his wife or whatever, but I don't know. This silly shit. This, like I said, this is the second video she did of me just of recently. The first one is she talks about me, but she doesn't say my name.
Yeah. Oh, she did. There was something that you released where she did
in here because someone went in there and was making fun of her voice, and she goes, "Oh, that must be a Laura's troll, or she must, or whatever." And I'm like, I don't send people after her.
That's the thing.
That's not what I do.
That's the other thing too, though, is you're living rent free in her head that she thinks that anyone that comes out and essentially attacks her for her voice or the way she looks or anything like that must be coming from you. Must be. She's so delusional.
Yeah. And I think she creates all these problems herself. She used to be like, okay, she was just like everybody else, how they started with the channel. It was because of The Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And she was so pissed off about it, of course, mainly about Harrison Ford. And that's where she did. And so she was very anti-Disney, Lucasfilm, Disney, Star Wars thing. She didn't like the direction. And then all of a sudden she started like changing her mind. And I don't know where that shift is or maybe or whatever, but she's like, we need to have hope. If we start watching what they give us and stuff, maybe they'll start producing good stuff.
But it's because she believes. It's because she honestly believes that John and Dave are going to come in and somehow, through all the shows and all the stuff that they're producing for Star Wars, is going to make them better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I truly think that that's what it is. Because, again, she thinks that the Civil War thing was real. She thinks that all of these things that Doomcock has reported on are real, even though they're so contradictory all the time.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So she thinks that, okay, yes, they were bad. But hopefully with what John and Dave do moving forward, it's going to actually make those things better.
Yeah. And what's so funny about her, too, is like, like George, she's that one of those that are kind of anti-EU where George never liked it and stuff. However, like Luke never had kids, he never got married, blah blah blah. But when it comes to like Han Solo and Leia and the kids they had in the original lore, oh, that's all true, that's all canon, that needs to come in. So she's selecting, picking and choosing too with that, and then she's bad mouthing because she has a history of bad mouthing like us EU fans and stuff too, which I don't get, because if she didn't like the direction that Disney has taken Star Wars, that would I would say that would probably include like all the stories that happened that George, sanctioned or helped worked and created and all this other stuff. You would think that would go with that if she's a true fan. But there's levels of fans. We're not going to get into that, but still, if it's about Harrison Ford's character Han Solo, then everything is true. That's another reason why she got pissed off about The Last Jedi or The Force Awakens, is that he got killed.
I do want to point out, and I do remember specifically hearing this from her mouth, right? Mm-hmm. After the sequel trilogy, she was one of those people that said like the EU should have been what they did. She was one of those people that used to be on the side of the EU, and now she's done a complete 180 on that, and she's completely flipped, and now the EU is the devil.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it's funny. It's because you included, Tim, Greg, we use the EU to show why what they're doing, including the John and Dave stuff, is so bad, right? Mm-hmm. You compare and contrast, like you said, all of that sort of thing. So because now we're essentially, in a way, we have weaponized the EU against the saviors of Star Wars in her eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why now she can't sit there and support the EU anymore and say that They should have just done what they did in the EU. George never thought that the EU was canon. She's now got to come out and say all of those things and basically fight that fight.
Right.
You know?
And then
it's...
Tusker Bob says it was Ketwalski who exposed Doomcock running bullshit 4chan post as source rumors.
There you go. Yep. Mm-hmm. So if you want to see a good, and he did I think it was at least 2 or 3. They were all based around Star Trek, right? But he leaked. He basically made up fake rumors, and even in the rumors, when you go read them, he did it where the first letter of each sentence or something actually spells a word, like "you are a retard" or something like that.
Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm. And it was brilliant. And of course, Doomcock reported that as rumor fact. I got to put the rumor / fact in there because it's like I've said this before. How many people have to corroborate the story before it stops becoming rumor? Take it with a grain of salt. But, I asked this guy, I asked this guy, I asked this guy, I asked this guy, and these are all my agents, and these are all my people, my sources behind the scenes. These guys all work for Star Trek, or these people all work for Lucasfilm, or whatever the case may be. And they've told me that, yes, this rumor is actually what's happening. So how can you continue taking that as rumor then? Just because he can't independently verify it.
Right.
Anyway, let's go on.
Here we are. Let's listen to this.
Let's finish listening to this. So apparently you think, despite her better knowledge and her big brain, you think that the Acolyte is real, you think that the Rey movie is real, and you think that the Lando series is real. And she doesn't for some strange, godly, unknown reason.
Yeah, so that's a got you against me, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, gotcha. This is why I can't wait for it to all come out. Because then we can sit there and go, what were you saying? What? Can you repeat that? I didn't hear you the first time.
Yeah. And if it doesn't happen, then that's Lucasfilm. They in their history so far, they end up canceling things in production and stuff, or before it even comes out, or before it even goes into production. So who knows? Like I said, I never stated that.
But this is the thing. You've got to take it on the surface. You've got to take it on what we're seeing and what we're hearing. So yes, like we've sort of been reporting recently, or at least I've been reporting, the Lando series there hasn't been a lot of news about it. More recently, there has been this news that's come out.
Yeah.
Right? Which makes you believe that they are doing the Lando series. Yeah. Good old Pando.
And I commented about it too on Twitter. I think it was Twitter, maybe. I forget. But what I said about that is with the Lando is, what if this, or even in general with these movies, because they keep on saying they're going to do them, or they're going to cut back, they keep hee-hawing about what they're going to do, about what type of, shows and films they're going to do and whatnot. I'm coming to the conclusion, what if they're just really just testing the waters and saying one thing and then going ahead and surprise the fans and do another? Mm-hmm. So, saying, oh, this show was canceled, but then have something already in production and another show going to come out. So what if they're just saying stuff to thinking that they're appeasing fans because they feel like fans are burnt out or whatever? I don't know. Like I said, I'm going into all these little nooks and crannies and stuff. They could be very well much not wanting to produce anything right now, or they can be. Who knows? All I know is that what I'm seeing and being reported is what I'm following. I'm not following these rumors from a stupid bird or what have you, a spy at Lucasfilm or whatever. I'm not. I'm going by what the company is showing.
But it's the argument that I'll make, if let's say these things don't happen, is the fact that when, let's say, Benioff and Weiss, right, got their Star Wars announcement, was it those guys, the guys from Game of Thrones, right? Mm-hmm. What happened? Everybody made videos. Yeah. Oh, guess who's making a Star Wars movie? Guess who's making a Star Wars movie? Well, did it happen? No. Is it going to happen? No. But at the time, that's what we were being told. from Lucasfilm. So what? And this is the thing. Moving forward, we might not get the Lando series. I don't think that there's any chance of us not getting the Acolyte, based on, again, what we've seen so far.
Mm-hmm. It might be just like a one season type scissor reel, basically, like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there a chance that the Rey movie won't happen? Yeah, there's probably a chance. But the fact that they pranced Daisy Ridley out at Star Wars Celebration and they announced it, and then you've got the lady that's supposed to be directing it, that activist lady that's supposed to be directing it, saying what she's been saying about it, and we're getting the writers' room together and we're writing the scripts and all of this kind of thing. Like, where's any evidence to the contrary that these things are actually going to happen? Nothing yet. Until, and this is the thing, this is why I say I don't listen to the rumor mill anymore. I don't. As much as I want Kathleen Kennedy gone, she's been fired 10 times in 10 years.
Poor John. Right? He says the same thing I did. I pop in to see this.
Yeah. Sorry.
And then, I've been just reading the chat as you're talking to as well. They're talking about Tuscan. Bob says, right now, there is no evidence to support either position on Rey or Lando ship, but Acolyte has a trailer, behind-the-scenes set shots, and extensive evidence of their on-location shooting. Correct. And that's the thing. That's like what's totally being ignored, because she went and checked the private, like some of the foreign banks that fund, like if they record or they film in London, like Blue Stockings, I guess it's called. So she pulls up documents there and is like, oh, well, there's not that much money in here, so that means nothing really happened, kind of deal.
Yep.
But funding doesn't have to necessarily just come from that. Funding comes from the company itself. So there's more than just one source of income when it comes to filming these shows and these movies and stuff like that. And, but she's going off of something, and she's basically trying to say, because she worked in politics, that
she knows
that politics and government is the same as politics in Hollywood. They act the same. And I'm like, they're two different entities. There are two different entities here with two different type of standards. And so politics are kind of the same. And like, you have, opposing views and stuff like that, or something happens. But government politics is very different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got to ask, were you here when I started watching this, or did you come in?
No, I didn't. I wasn't here when you started watching this. So
okay.
I got home, I bathed up, and then I was like, oh yeah, Casual Rage is on. So I turned it on.
So at the beginning, she says that you failed to realize what Bob Iger said about slowing down, right? Mm-hmm. If you remember.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Yeah. Now, I made the point earlier, obviously, when she said that was 2019 that he said that. And in the 3 years since he said that we're slowing down, there has been over 10 different shows, different seasons of something that have actually come out on Disney Plus. Mm-hmm. So it's one thing to say, yeah, okay, he's that he said that they're slowing down, but and I said this, get out of the past. Like, get out of the past. Like, we're moving forward now. There's no more slowing down. Now they want to ramp it up.
Right. They need to. They need to get stuff out so they can make money.
Yep.
That's the whole thing. But now they're grasping, like there's hints that you're going to see Old Republic and Revan stuff in Acolyte and stuff like that. So there's those rumors there.
Yep, 100%. Let me just.
So
sorry, what?
Revan brings money.
For sure.
Brings money. So I think they're pivoting themselves to start adding a lot more EU stuff into their lore.
Well, that's evident with the Ahsoka trailer. Oh, with the heir to the Empire. Like, what more do you want? What more evidence do you want than that? The fact that they need to use the EU and pluck from the EU. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then these people want to come out and say, look, they're giving you your EU. They're giving you what you want. And it's like, no, they're not. just let me hit this really quickly. Arbaru sent $10 through Streamlabs. Thank you, Arbaru. You're an awesome supporter. Great job on side scrollers. Overall, good discussion. I think so too. I think it was a very, very good discussion. And I'm going to play this for Arbaru because he keeps sending amazing super chats. I'll give you this one.
They came bounding over.
Disney! You fucking cunt! There you go. And we do have... here we go.
Hello, what have we here?
Hello, Greg.
Hello there.
Hey.
Welcome back to Casual Rage. How you doing?
Good to be here. I want to correct the record because you just reiterated it. Bob Iger was referencing the theatrical releases of Star Wars, not the goddamn Disney Plus stuff.
Okay.
Yep.
So
Fair enough.
that was just after the failure of Solo at the box office, which, by the way, is the only Star Wars property to fail at the box office ever.
Yep.
Everything else Disney has produced, including the video games, has been a financial success, except for the Disney Plus stuff, which we have no way to quantify because we don't know the exact budgets. And then obviously it's a subscription service. So we don't, how do you quantify how much of the Disney Plus revenue versus the Disney Plus expenses gets borne by that show versus a Marvel show?
Yeah.
I would argue that every single dime that Disney has spent producing Star Wars and Marvel on Disney Plus has been 100% a waste of money.
Yeah.
Because I don't think any of the people subscribing to the service give a shit about either one of those properties to the point where they would actually cancel it if they didn't have those shows.
Right.
No, 100%. I agree.
And the investors didn't want more movies at the pace that they were putting them out because they believe this whole there's Star Wars fatigue, because they were putting Star Wars stuff out at breakneck speed. Even George Lucas, he took a full year longer between the prequel movies than Disney took for the sequel movies.
Yeah.
And on top of it, they did the spin-off stories of Rogue One and Solo.
In between, correct.
And even George Lucas, when he was discussing about his retirement and deciding to fully retire, not just have, put someone in his place and still be a part of the company, because he knew that he would micromanage and go in and want to be involved. And he also did talk about how he produces movies. He'd be really old by time the sequel trilogy would have been out.
Yeah, it'd be another 10 years.
Time with it, and he pauses years in between, 3 to whatever.
Well, he said that he wouldn't
filming. He films, but the pre-production process went on for a very long time, and they didn't have
But he wouldn't have been. Sorry, go on.
Even JJ, they couldn't get him to sign on because they wanted JJ to do all 3 movies.
Mm-hmm. They did.
And the pace that he needed to be on, or Disney wanted him to be on, he's like, no, I can't do that. I won't do that. Which is the whole reason why JJ didn't do the second movie, was because by the time that because the director's obviously much more involved in the pre-production work, versus the actors and everything else. And they have to follow through all the way through the end of the whole marketing campaign. So it's kind of pretty much nonstop, balsa wall, busy as fuck, breakneck pace to get the things done on time, especially at the schedule Disney wanted to put them out. And he said, I can't do it. And that he won't do it. Now, had Disney initially just said, look, we're going to do 7, 8, and 9, but we're going to take our times doing it. We're going to put 3 years in between them. We're going to, we're going to
use George's treatments.
I mean, even if they didn't decide to use George's treatments, because I'm one of those people that I don't give George Lucas knighthood status or saint, saint status.
Mm-hmm.
Because honestly, he did run he hired Kathleen Kennedy.
Right.
He hired Dave Filoni.
Yeah.
Right.
he owned the company that made TCW. So like the man is not infallible.
No.
He certainly has made mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that even the creator of an IP can eventually start believing his own press releases too much, start sniffing too many of his own farts, and not listen to constructive criticism and make mistakes. And I think like some of the mistakes that were made during the prequel era, and you know, I enjoy the prequels, but I mean there were mistakes and some, I think some bad calls made during the process of those movies. I think they're the result of him like not either surrounding himself with people that wouldn't tell him the truth, or not listening to people who are trying to tell him the truth. One of those two things. So like I don't put him up on a pedestal as some infallible thing. And like so like I honestly, the treatments for 7, 8, and 9, pretty skeptical that his would have been great. Just to be honest with you, like if he's going to go to the wills of the Force and get into the weeds on that,
Depends on what was going to do. Yeah.
Like that wouldn't have been as interesting to me. But like at this point, it's like it's all speculation. He's not going to come out and give any of the details.
But see, also
we're never going to know.
But also George said that he can't sort of stand back and be a little bit of a part of it because he can't micromanage. He's just going to be balls to the wall, invested in, you know, jumping over the top of people to get out what he wants to get out. So that's why he sort of didn't really want to do that as well. But I feel like with George, he knew Star Wars enough, obviously, that I still think no matter what he did, it would have been better than the sequels.
Well, I think the sequels are awful. I mean, for sure. I mean, like, could they have been worse? I guess, yeah, they could have clearly been even worse.
Yeah.
I mean, Rian Johnson could have written all 3 of them.
Yeah. Oh, could you imagine? What would he have started with?
I mean,
probably
God, who knows?
The Last Jedi. We would have started with The Last Jedi. He would have killed off
fundamentally,
everybody.
Star Wars is broken, and like, you know, the lore stuff is important, the continuity stuff, like all that stuff is very important, EU, all that things. But like ultimately, when it comes down to it, they fundamentally broke Star Wars because they don't believe, the people who own Star Wars, who run Star Wars, especially people like Dave Filoni, they do not believe that Star Wars is fundamentally a story about good and evil.
Yeah.
Like you hear him talking about it with the Acolyte, but like if you look at the themes and the messages in The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker, we see those themes in those movies as well. That like, oh, it's relative. It's really just like the rebellion and the Empire are 2 sides of the same coin. They're morally equivalent. It's just one side's this way, the other side's this way. Like you got that whole character DJ, right? In especially in the Last Jedi. That's where it really, really went off the rails there. And then they don't believe that the Force has any, like, it's mystical, but it has no morals. Yeah.
And it has no rules anymore.
It doesn't have like, but it doesn't even have the rules. It has no moral code. It's as ambiguous and unimportant as whatever it is that causes the mutant X gene. It's not rooted in any sort of morality or any sort of good and evil, and like the dark side and the light side, again, just 2 sides of the same coin. 2 different means to an end. To exert power.
Yeah, and balance
which
now
is just
means nothing.
Fundamentally not what the light side or the dark side of the Force is supposed to represent in Star Wars. So you see, like, why does Star Wars not feel like Star Wars? Well, it's because it's missing its fundamental heart and soul. There's no morality. There's no good. There's no evil. It's moral relativism at its absolute trashy worst.
Yeah.
So literally, who gives a shit who wins?
Yeah. I want to bring it back to this really quickly. I just want to show this because obviously there was the rumor about Keanu Reeves coming out and having a cameo in the Acolyte as well. But it makes just seeing that comment there also makes me think: how can we say that the Acolyte's not happening when who's from the Matrix? Who's his
Carrie-Anne Moss?
Carrie-Anne Moss,
and which is why Keanu Reeves is probably actually going to do a cameo. It's because they have a history of doing like 4 movies together. Little movies called The Matrix. Mild box office success and impact on the way movies are made with the bullet time and all that shit. Right? Yeah. Those tiny little movies called The Matrix. Keanu Reeves absolutely, I believe, would do a cameo simply to be like, "Oh, you're working on this thing, Carrie? Like, yeah, I'll come.
I'll do something.
I'll come and shoot for a couple days. No big deal."
Yeah.
But like, even just the fact
he's the type of person that absolutely would do that for
fucking oath.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But this is the other thing too: is the fact that Carrie-Anne Moss is even a part of the Acolyte series. Mm-hmm. Like. Again, I don't understand what makes these people, especially her, based on what we're talking about, think that this show isn't happening. What can you possibly think, or what can you possibly believe, or what has somebody possibly told you that makes you think that the Acolyte is not happening? Do you believe
she has a mental disorder?
Do you believe that Kathleen Kennedy is actually going to be fired and then they're just going to cancel it? Is that what it is? Like, what is it?
She has a mental disorder. She has this obsession with Kathleen Kennedy, and specifically only Kathleen Kennedy, as the end all be all bad of Lucasfilm. And like, she doesn't see anybody else as doing anything wrong or responsible. And right from the get-go, she was like, cancel the Acolyte was like her hashtag, and she was anti the Acolyte. But like, for some reason, she had that one up her ass. But like the Kenobi show, she didn't.
See, there's a lot of people, just quickly, there's a lot of people also saying, there's a lot of people saying that they can't afford Keanu. I don't think, if Carrie-Anne was to ask him to come on and do a cameo and they wouldn't be able to afford him, I think that he would still do it.
I think honestly he would do it for less money than Lizzo did it.
Yeah.
I'm actually I'm dead fucking serious.
And that's because of the kind of person Keanu Reeves is.
Because of the person Keanu Reeves is, and it would be like if I just got to show up and it's going to cost me literally just a day of my time. Like,
I get to play
all you need to do is pay my hotel bill, pay my flight itinerary, right?
Yep.
Get me there,
and I'll do it.
I'll shoot for 1 or 2 days. Like literally, it's going to cost me a couple days, and I get to go to England, and shoot in the beautiful London countryside at that new studio that they made, or Portugal where they were filming on location there. Again, documented with photos.
Evidence. Yep.
That production was actually there and filming for a specific range of dates. But absolutely, I believe it. And by the way, like Keanu Reeves, like we'll definitely get into this tomorrow night on the spacing. But like, if you want an evidence that this Hollywood is just this absolute cesspool of human garbage, read the lawsuit and allegations against Lizzo that have just surfaced.
Oh yeah,
God.
And they have to be true. They have to be 1,000% true. It is undebatable. It cannot be questioned. A woman has come forth and made these claims, and they must, without question, be believed.
Yep, because she's a woman, right?
Absolutely. Believe all women. It is the gospel fucking truth. It is on Lizzo. She is now guilty until she proves her innocence.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear anything else besides that. She fucking did it. She did every aspect of it. Bananas out of the cooch. Every aspect of that lawsuit and allegation. of her disgusting behavior is 1,000% verified gospel fucking truth until she specifically proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that
she's
it's not
innocent.
true.
Yeah.
Because hashtag believe all women.
Yeah. All right, let's finish this really quickly. There's not much left.
Off the screen. Oh my god, yeah, let's finish it.
I mean, you know, speaking of disgusting women,
continue. Yeah, continue.
Good segue.
Because she can't look at Bob Iger and hear what he says and understand that the rest of this shit is bullshit.
Okay, first of all, I know we're really fucking EFAPing the shit out of this, but hang on a second. This is the same Bob Iger that runs the company that came out and said that we've got a not so secret gay agenda. This is the same Bob Iger. So she's putting all her trust and faith in what Bob Iger said. What Disney is saying.
The same Bob Iger that extended Kathleen Kennedy's contract not once, but twice.
Yeah. And possibly even going to do it a third time.
I hope so. I hope she gets a 20-year fucking contract.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But this is the thing. Like, how can don't just isolate Bob Iger to Star Wars? Look at Disney as a whole right now. Look at everything that Disney is doing right now. The fucking live action remakes. I know, Greg and you and I have talked about this, but like, we don't care about fucking Snow White. We don't care about the Little Mermaid and shit like that. But it is pretty fucking retarded in regards to what they're doing, in regards to the race swapping and the gender swapping and all of the shit, the diversity and all the shit that they've got to do, the quotas. That is pretty fucking retarded. That is Bob Iger, you fucking moron.
What's so retarded is like, she's like, oh, Laura can't, she can't look at Bob Iger or believe, I don't know what the fuck she said, but, she's pulling this shit out of her ass about what I can interpret or what I know.
Literally, like she's selecting what Bob Iger said 4 years ago and not taking any other quotes and conveniently dismissing all the other countervailing evidence, even if you believe that the evidence that she's provided that he said that they were going to back off Star Wars production. Well, they clearly didn't because again, they've made a ton of Star Wars shows.
Right. Yep. And they're
then on top of that,
they continue to announce more and more.
Right.
So,
but then also on top of that, Disney under Bob Iger has made a lot of other garbage shows and garbage movies and garbage television. Like
literally everything they've produced for Disney Plus has been substandard trash.
Yeah.
Name a show that Disney Plus has made.
Yeah, I can't. At least in the last 5 to 10 years
since they've existed. Disney Plus.
Well, since Disney Plus. When did Disney Plus come out? It was
one Disney Plus original thing that has been better than pure garbage.
Since 2019,
doesn't exist.
Mandalorian was the flagship show, wasn't it? And that came out 2019. Crossed over with
all their Marvel stuff has been garbage.
Yeah.
All their Star Wars stuff has been garbage. I mean, I know that some people like this lovely woman here loved The Mandalorian for some reason. But it has been fucking garbage.
Andor, that's where I disagree. Andor's not good. Andor is not a good fucking show. It's not. There's contradictions in the story. There might be some. I will say it's probably the best in regards to some elements of character development. But there's story threads and shit that get dropped, like Andor looking for his sister and then just dropping that.
Andor's a lot like his movie. It is only good in comparison to the other garbage that has been produced. So people say like, well, Rogue One was good. No, it's actually really boring and kind of awful. It's just good compared to The Last Jedi.
Yeah, or Solo.
Really good.
Or Solo. And Andor is good because like it's not as mindless, vacuous garbage as
Obi-Wan,
the Favreau stuff.
Yeah.
Or Obi-Wan.
Or Boba Fett.
Well, Boba was Favreau.
Yeah, that's true.
Like every action sequence in the Disney Plus shows has been awful. piss poor choreographed, just laughably stupid.
That's the nicest thing you've ever said about Andor. It's true though. It's true though.
There's no characters in any of the Favreau shows at all. They're all just paper thin nothings on the screen. And so by comparison, like if you have a show like Andor, where you have somebody who's an actual character, it looks good by comparison, but the entire premise of the show is stupid.
Matt Wilkins.
Oh my God.
Some folks have an OnlyFans. This girl has a Lonely Fans account. G'day, Matt.
Let's finish this up.
That's what Cameron's Patreon is called.
Yeah, let's finish this.
He's the one that has to sign off on it. Okay. Now,
and he has.
I looked at the annual report. I was
yeah, that's it.
The annual report from the last quarterly report was like issued, I think, in May for quarter 2.
Right. Yep.
But also,
so we haven't had a fiscal result for Disney yet for quarter 3.
No.
It's actually coming out in a couple days.
Right.
But also, too, haven't there been reports that Lucasfilm for Disney has lost about $900 million, and that doesn't include
1,000% wrong. Nope.
What am I hearing?
It's not even close. The $900 million is supposedly what Disney has lost in the last calendar year at the box office. If you pull numbers completely out of your ass that have no basis in reality and are just guessing. And then also you completely ignore movies like Avatar. Right. Then you can get to the 900 complete bullshit, made up, fucking false garbage that Valiant Rent-A-Gay came up with.
Right. I see. This is the thing. Like, I know that obviously we know that what's it's called? Indiana Jones is going to fucking lose a fair bit of money. That's
because you have no evidence of any kind whatsoever of how much they spent on the marketing of the movie.
Right.
That is just pure speculation.
But also, too, they are bleeding Disney Plus subscribers based on their reports.
Not really.
No?
They've lost Hotstar in India from losing the cricket. That's where the bulk of their subscriber losses actually come from. They've actually grown a little bit. Well, I mean, they go up and down by small margins in the United States and everywhere.
Yeah, right.
else.
Okay.
So the bulk of their losses has been in Hotstar because they chose not to pick up the cricket league. Or the digital rights to the Cricket League, which they would have had to pay an outrageous amount of money for. And it was absolutely the right business move not to continue that. There's no they would have recouped that.
Tuscan Bob, a Disney shell. Who would have thought?
No, I'm just like I'm just not going to blindly believe all the dumb shit people say about Disney because it's just Disney.
Yeah. That's same here.
And that's where you get a lot of this stuff. And like to suggest that like go and add up the box office results from Rogue One, billion plus.
Yeah.
Force Awakens, like 2.5 billion.
Yeah.
Last Jedi 1.3 or 1.4 billion. Rise of Skywalker 1.1 billion. Solo, okay, 400 million. Solo did lose money, but like all the other movies made money. Sorry, like, and I know that upsets people that would just want to think that Disney is going to fail because we want them to.
Yeah.
But like every single Star Wars product that they've put on the screen has been financially successful, save one, and that's Solo. Now,
And
again,
we can't say
quantify the Disney Plus stuff.
the Disney Plus stuff. That's right.
We can say that their video games have been an enormous smash hit success. Thank you, Rhino, for contributing to that, by the way.
Yeah, Rhino's one of them that's helped out with that contribution. Woo!
Exactly. Which with the equivalent of like 10 months subscribing to Disney Plus for buying like one video game. Good job.
Hey, that's not my subscription. You know that.
But you bought the game, which is the equivalent of how many months of Disney Plus?
I see. Shut up.
I know you just don't want to deal with that reality, but I'm calling you out. I'm sorry. You're fucking guilty.
I know.
I condemn you to hell, sir.
Yeah,
well, let me just say, after
Mickey
Jedi
spends
Survivor,
eternity shoving pineapples up your ass.
Let me say, after Jedi Survivor, never again.
that was
How could you even buy that game after playing fucking stupid the first one? The first one.
No.
Fallen Order's plot was insanely stupid.
I know.
It was Jedi chutes and ladders where you're running up a.
Hey.
Oh, but there's wall running. Ooh,
At least I didn't do this.
Nah, you were too busy doing this.
No, by the end of it, I was doing
They
this.
came bounding over.
Fuck off, Disney! You fucking cunt!
Oh, I'm sorry. I was wrong on my numbers. Force Awakens 2.1 billion, 1.3, 1 billion. You didn't mention Rogue One though. Okay, so like every movie did over $1 billion except for Rogue One. Or I'm sorry, except for Solo. And if you believe that they've spent anywhere near that much making and marketing those movies, like please, I have stock to sell you.
Can I ask, can we count, like, let's say the Star Wars hotel failure in them losing money?
No.
Why? Cost $2 billion to make that hotel, and they're.
Are you out of your fucking mind?
That's what I'm hearing.
$2 billion for a hotel. They spent twice as much money making a hotel as they did MetLife Stadium in New York City.
I don't know.
Are you out of your fucking mind? Quit repeating dumb. $2 billion for a fucking hotel. Jesus fucking Christ. Half the value of the entire franchise they spent on one hotel. Every hotel would be bankrupt at that price.
I don't know.
Told you I was going to come in hot. $2 billion.
He's like, coming in hot.
Jeez, come on. And no,
well,
that's on the parks wasting the money, not you're going to blame Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm for them building a stupid hotel.
And that could be a write-off, easy write-off.
Well, we can blame Kathleen Kennedy for
and then you would have to assume that the hotel is now worth $0, and the building clearly has value. The land it's on is still worth money. It can be repurposed.
Correct.
Granted, it's going to require additional capital now to renovate it into something else. But to say like whatever they spent on it is now not worth $0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to say that whatever they spent building the hotel, the hotel is still there. They're just going to have to refurbish the room. And based on what those rooms look like, they didn't spend that much money on them in the first place. So.
And what about the park? Like, what about, because there was obviously the whole thing. Don't make it we're not making Star Wars for the 50-year-olds. They changed it from Tatooine to Batuu or whatever the fuck it is.
Right.
I know people are going to it, but I've heard that attendance has been down and all of that kind of thing. Like, is that making money?
We don't have the data. We have. There's no data. It's all just subjective. The parks are, because I don't even think in the quarterly reports they're breaking it down by which segments of the park are making money versus which segments are not. Because again, how do you quantify that? Because if somebody stays at a hotel near the Disney resort and they go to 5 different parks within the park complex, so they go to Epcot, then they go to this, who gets what revenue for the hotels? How would you even quantify that? I think they certainly wasted money on that, but again, I don't even think you could put that on. I mean, that's more Chapek who okayed that shit. And
no, well, it was Kathleen Kennedy that did say we're not making Star Wars for the 50-year-olds, so let's change it. Like the person that was designing and building Tatooine at the time specifically came out and said that was Kathleen Kennedy.
Right. You're Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy comes into your office and says that. What do you say back to her?
Fuck off, bitch.
Fuck off, you dumb cunt.
Yeah.
We're not doing that. Like, so like
that's not what ended up happening because they ended up changing it.
Well, no, and that's ultimately that's going to be on the people who are in charge of the parks and who are in charge of Disney. Like,
so you're still saying that's on. You're still saying that's on Bob Chapek and Bob Iger.
Yeah, because he has ultimate say as well.
That's not on Kennedy. Like, it's Kennedy's bad idea, but like at
the end of the day, they could have said no. Yeah,
exactly. Like, what do you mean you're gonna have a Star Wars theme park without Luke Skywalker? Are you out of your goddamn mind? Are you stupid?
Mm-hmm. And back onto the report, like on the parks not making money, we did talk about this on the spacing. And when I was looking at their last report, that was back in May or March or whatever, they reported they were up 70% in their parks on revenue and all this other stuff. Now we won't know until this next one comes out what's going on with the parks. So there's a lot of circumstances, like depending on between the parks here in California and in Florida, seasons affect it, weather affects it, all of that stuff. So there's
the competition affects it, like the fact that a major competitor opened up a major competing attraction in the same year in the Nintendo Land. Like obviously that's going to have some impact on park attendance as well. But if you look at the financial results of Disney for the second quarter and their 12-month prior, like they're a profitable company. They made $4 billion in profit.
Yeah.
So overall, they have made money.
They're going to continue to make money. They're not like this idea that they're losing money. Like that's just never been the case. Are they making as much as they should or could? Certainly not. Are they well run? Certainly not.
Yeah.
Are they making a lot of terrible, bad financial decisions? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But they're not going bankrupt either. I think that's just wishful thinking on the part of people who are trying to sell you hope.
Yeah.
When the reality is like
almost the same. It's almost the same.
Literally, Disney's too big to fail. They're going to get bailed out. Even if they were to fail, they get bailed out.
Yeah, but it's almost the same kind of hope as saying that Kathleen Kennedy's fired. That people are selling you, is what you're sort of saying.
Well, it's as meaningful, because like even if she does get fired or she decides to retire or whatever, like what does it change?
Yeah,
what's going to happen?
It changes absolutely nothing for the short term or long term. I think for Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
Because at this point, like, people are like, well, oh my God, they killed the Indiana Jones franchise. Really? Like Harrison Ford is 10,000 years old. I think the franchise was already dead, Jim.
Yeah.
I mean, like that wasn't a franchise that was worth anything because
but also too like
dead.
Yeah. But also too, it's kind of like what you were saying earlier about George Lucas being infallible. Like he is. He did Crystal Skull.
Yeah, him and Spielberg.
And again with George, he allowed the Clone Wars to be a thing.
Well, and the thing was, Indiana Jones, the Crystal Skull wasn't like the money that Crystal Skull did not justify what they spent on this last Indiana Jones movie. Like, the fact that it had like a $300 million budget. COVID or not, as an excuse, like it's just unacceptably stupid. There's just no way a movie with that kind of price tag is going to make its money back. Almost no movie with that kind of price tag is going to make its money back. It's extraordinary. Like, I mean, because billion-dollar movies are not the norm. They're very much the exception. We had a year or two where there was a bunch of them.
Yeah. That was around Infinity War, wasn't it?
That was, and that was the pinnacle of Marvel and a whole bunch of other things kind of all coming together. Well, then we had like a worldwide pandemic, which certainly I think affected the global box office. It got people out of the habit of going to see nearly as many movies as they used to. And the entire industry changed with the expansion and convenience of streaming.
Mm-hmm.
So to expect it to be at the level that it was in 2018, 2019 is just kind of silly to begin with.
Mm.
And now you're spending more money on each title than you've ever before. Like even Mission Impossible 7 had a retarded budget, 200. Here's what got me about and really pissed me off about Indiana Jones and then Mission Impossible, right? Everybody in our sphere was like pointing and laughing at Indiana Jones. Oh, look at the budget. They're never gonna make that money back. And but then like fucking Mission Impossible has like a budget that's 10 million less. Like literally like a day of shooting less. And people are just like, whoa, this movie, we got to root for it. This is, this is going to save Hollywood. Like, well, why?
Yeah.
Why?
But I don't think necessarily people were saying that. It was more the fact that people watched Indiana Jones. Like I watched both of them. I didn't go see Indiana Jones in the theater, but I went and saw Mission Impossible. But like Indiana Jones is a fucking bad movie. Like a really bad movie.
So is Crystal Skull.
No, 100%. But Mission Impossible definitely is a fun movie. It's enjoyable. I think it was just the word of mouth going around. But also, too, I know that there's people out there that are saying that, Mission Impossible, despite how enjoyable it can be, is going to lose money. I've seen videos. I've seen people reporting it that are in that sphere that, were, let's say, laughing and pointing at...
They're admitting it now. They were hyping and rooting for it.
They might have been rooting for it, but there's nothing wrong with rooting for something, is there?
Absolutely, there 1,000% is. It's a Paramount Pictures production that's rooting for Kurtzman. That's rooting for MTV. That's rooting for Nickelodeon. It's rooting for RuPaul's Drag Race. It's rooting for Star Trek, Strange New Worlds. It's rooting for Teenage Mutant. Well, is Mutant Ninja Turtles? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Turtles is Warner or actually, I think it is.
I
want to say it's Paramount. Paramount, when you look through their entire library, including their cable channels, is more woke, worse company than Disney. And it's not even close. So yes, it is wrong to root for a Paramount movie, any Paramount movie, because all you're doing is literally paying a tax to people that hate you to produce stuff that you're fundamentally against.
So what are we supposed to do in this entertainment sphere?
Not completely walk away from everything. Don't go see anything. Don't go root for anything. Wish them to fail. Do not give up until you see everybody who's involved in Hollywood starving to death in the gutters like they deserve. They hate you. They hate everything you stand for. They are the disease of this world. They are a contagion. They are collectively the worst industry to have ever existed in the history of the world. They're disgusting, immoral garbage. Wreck them, ruin them, destroy them, step on their corpse, and piss on them.
Like they did with Star Wars.
They deserve it. They would do the same to you. These are the very same fuckers who would have put you in a concentration camp and sung you a fucking John Lennon song. These are the same fuckers who told you as they were fucking their donkeys in the ass in their goddamn mansions, screw your freedom. Fuck you, Schwarzenegger. Fuck you, hope you die. Never will you be forgiven. Ever. Fuck you. Hope your whole industry rots. Hope you all fucking starve to death. You fuckers are the least important people on earth. And you were all granted an exception to work while other people couldn't even fucking say goodbye to their dying grandparents in the fucking nursing home. They had to die alone. But fucking trash like Schwarzenegger and Gal Gadot and all the other Hollywood fucking moral retards got to go make their little pretend crap. While we couldn't bury our loved ones. We couldn't even fucking see them. Sorry, Grandma, die alone. Fuck you. But Arnold gets to go make his fucking movie. Fuck you, Hollywood. I will not rest until you are all fucking dead like you deserve.
And when we say dead, we're talking about the industry.
I mean literally fucking dead.
No. I don't know whether or not to just like, hang on a second, just take a breath.
And he is done. He's
I
like,
warned you.
I dropped the mic and now he's out. Like he's like, I dropped the mic and I'm going. Yeah.
Well, there you have it. Well, while I've still got you guys here, Laura, do you need to go at all, or what do you?
I can hang out for a little bit more.
All right. Let me just move on to something that has obviously come up. Yeah, fired up today. Fired up today. I need a drug now. But he's spitting facts.
Yeah. No, I agree 100% with him. And yes, I've had that rage too before. Fuck shit.
Yep. Well, there goes your channel, Rhino. Yeah. All right. So there's obviously been this ongoing story about the Lando show. Just going back to the Star Wars stuff really quickly, and obviously I find this really funny because, of course, Genesac was talking about Laura believing that Lando is actually happening. So it all started with a report that came out from Justin Simeon, who was the original writer for this Lando series that's apparently in development. And he was saying how he hasn't heard anything. Then he also came out in the Hollywood Reporter, I believe it was, and said that maybe he's too black and he's too queer for Disney because he seems, or for these studios, because he seems to always make or be involved in these things. He hands them in. They apparently like them and all of this kind of stuff, and then they just get shelved or hears nothing more about it. Then about a week later, out of nowhere, apparently Justin Simeon is no longer a part of the development of the Lando series, and Donald and Stephen Glover are now going to be writing the series. The funny thing is then a couple of days or another little week goes by or something like that, and we find out that Justin Simeon was Gina Carano'd by Disney. And we're basically informed that he is no longer a part of the development of the Lando series on social media. He knew nothing else about it until he found that out from social media. Apparently he saw a post on Instagram and he's like, oh. So I do find it funny that a black gay man gets Gina Carano'd by Disney when they, preach for inclusion, representation, and all of that kind of thing. Now, I don't know whether or not that's got something to do with the writers' strike. Maybe it does, because I have no doubt that he's a part of that union, wouldn't he be, if he's writing the series? I probably would assume that he is. So maybe then they needed the actors to write their own scripts, but now there's the actors' strike. So I don't exactly know where the development element of this series is anymore. But that's the crux of the story so far. Then this week, we had Billy D. Williams come out with this little post. Now, there was a post that he put out before this, and it said, exciting news coming soon or something like that. And then he also puts this post out there. I'm thrilled to share that something truly magnificent is coming soon. This is a dream come true for me on all that has sustained and carried me through a lifetime of dreams and adventure. It is my honor to share with you. Make sure you enable notifications for stories and posts to stay in the loop. You don't want to miss this. May the force be with you all. Mm-hmm. Now, I did a video on this, and to me, they're just sucking everything that they can out of Billy D. Williams here, because if you saw his performance in the Rise of Palpatine, he can't walk. He can't, it affects his acting because it limits what he can actually do. Now, call me what do they call people that like the ist or the phobe that are against fucking cripples?
Are you ageist?
No, not ageist, probably cripplist or something. I don't know.
Cripple? I'm pretty sure they're not going to use the word cripple in their istophobe language, because that's a triggering word there.
Yeah.
Cripplist.
Well, whatever I am,
Ableist.
I'm it. Ableist. Yeah. But this is the thing, like I was wondering, like, what could they do? They could make maybe Billy D. Williams Lando's dad. They could make Billy D. Williams be like, and I said this in my video, maybe at the end of the entire series, he is there telling this story that we've just seen with Donald Glover as Lando, and he's telling that story a bit like C-3PO when he's telling the story about their adventures to the Ewoks.
It's going to be like Young Guns 2.
Oh god.
Where like old Billy D. Williams is telling the story of like what happened to Billy, like after the first movie. Like this is going to be what happens after that. You don't have to go back and look at his performance in Rise of Skywalker, though. Like you look more recently, his performance at Celebration.
I didn't even see it.
I didn't see that either.
Or any interviews that he's done in the last couple of years, he's an old man. Like he struggles.
He struggles big time.
Kind of like you expect him to nod off.
Yeah.
Like, it's time for Grandpa to take a nap now. I mean, but like he's earned it. He's an old man. Like this is not somebody who's going to lead the franchise.
No.
I mean, if it is, that's stupid. Like, look, Lando's not a lead character to begin with. I'm sorry, like for the Lando fans out there, but like,
I agree.
He's an important character, yes, but he's not a lead.
He's not anything that you should be doing an entire series about this character.
But neither certainly. But I mean, by Andor standards, I guess he is, because Andor's absolutely. Cassian Andor is not a lead character either.
No,
he
that's
really
true.
Isn't even in his own show.
And he dies at the end, so who cares?
Right.
But you could say the same thing for Book of Boba Fett. We didn't really need a Boba Fett series. It was fine having him the way he was and him being sort of a bit more of a mysterious character. We didn't need him to come out and be like, I'm going to be the leader of Tatooine and rule with respect.
Well, certainly not, but like I think you could do a Boba Fett story where he could be a lead if you made the character not lame and pathetic. But like Lando's not a character that really like. He's not interesting until Return of the Jedi or the end of Empire Strikes Back, really.
Right.
Yep.
He's not really an interesting character that you want to root for or are rooting for until basically he turns.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like, decides to help out Leia and Chewie and go after Han. Like, when I saw Return of the Jedi way back when I was a youngster, and I imagined before the EU existed, like what happened after Return of the Jedi? What's the next chapter? What's the next story? What goes on in the galaxy? How does it get resolved? Like, I really never was like, well, I wonder what Lando's going to do.
Yeah.
I assumed that he was going to have some role in the New Republic government and be an administrator or governor of some sort. But I was never like, man, I really need to find out what Lando does with his life. Mm-hmm. Like, no, I was like, well, what does Luke do to rebuild the Jedi?
Right.
What does do Han and Leia get married?
Mm-hmm.
Like those are the stories that you naturally think of when you think of like, hey, what happens next after episode 6? Nobody was like, man, I really need to know what Lando does.
Mm-hmm.
because he's just not that character.
No.
And basically they and what's terrible and what makes Favreau and Filoni Star Wars even more garbage than it just is on its surface is you take a look at the character of Grief Karga, right?
Yeah.
I jokingly call him Apollo Calrissian.
Yeah.
Because he played Apollo Creed. And I think the acting, the actor who plays him, Carl Weathers, Chubbs from Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore, yeah.
I like him. I think he's a genuinely nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
He seems that way on Twitter. He seems kind of naive and kind of dorky as far as how he enthusiastically supports things and everything. But he's doing he's doing what he feels he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
I don't think anything he does is malicious. I think he's just kind of like happy to have the work and happy to be a part of something, which is cool. Very much a similar vibe as Gina initially.
Yeah.
But I call him that because his character really is just a ripoff of Lando Calrissian.
Yeah.
And not just the skin color. Down to the wardrobe, they got him running around in capes now.
Racist.
They have him in capes. He's an administrator, but it's not Cloud City. It's Lava City, Lava Rock Planet, Navarro.
Yeah,
but he's essentially kind of the same character. Like he starts off as kind of like the slimy bad guy who's going to double cross the Mando and Grogu, but then like Grogu heals his boo boo and then he turns good.
Yeah.
And if you line up Lando Calrissian and Grief Karga, they're kind of the same fucking character.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't really watched all of that, so I wouldn't know. But that sounds like like from seeing what I've seen with clips and stuff, that sounds right.
Like the fact that they made him in this benevolent administrator character who goes around in fancy capes. I mean, like, come on.
No, I agree. Let me hit this super chat from Lethal Lightning here. I don't know. Sounds kind of gay to me, Billy. Yo, I hate cripples too. And minorities, and midgets, and women, and left-handed people, and the gays, and so on.
And Canadians. Don't forget Canadians.
Oh,
Thank
geez.
you. Thank you, Lethal, for the 5. That's kind of funny. Look, I just don't think that Billy D. Williams should be being like, I don't know, maybe it is just maybe he's just helping them write it a little bit. And I kind of made this point too. Like when George Lucas was making the original Star Wars, I think he gave the actors so much depth for each one of their characters that they actually sort of know the characters better than the people that are actually writing them at the moment. And it's kind of like when Mark Hamill came out with Rian Johnson and said, I fundamentally disagree. Now, he's of course done a bit of a 180 on all of the bullshit and everything that's out there. He doesn't really talk about, the abomination of Luke Skywalker anymore the way he used to. But
like, you think Billy knows anything about his character?
Man, I reckon he knows more about his character than fucking, let's say, Kathleen Kennedy does.
But that's not any sort of standard at all.
I don't think that Billy has read any of the EU pertaining to his character. Probably I know from reading his interviews and him being hired and wanting to know like what Lando Calrissian meant, like what origin it was from and stuff, so he can kind of get into the personality and stuff. He kind of researched that and he used that, so he built the character. But
nobody
okay,
they're using Billy D. Williams
100%.
Yeah,
they're just flat out using him because nobody has anything bad to say about him. He's not out there politically. He's not like he doesn't ruffle any feathers. Everybody kind of has nice things to say about him, and so he's good PR, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've got to do something to counteract the Pando Lando shit now,
right? And they're absolutely going. They're using him because of the goodwill that he has earned, they're hoping that it rubs off on the projects underneath him. And honestly, I think it's elder abuse. I think kind of similar as to like when they would drag what's his name, the Marvel creator.
Oh, Stan Lee.
Yeah, Stan Lee.
Yes, Stan Lee.
They kind of would drag Stan Lee around and like past his prime, or like, you know, when they drag Nichelle Nichols, who played Uhura from Star Trek, they drag her ass to conventions when she's just like clearly.
Yeah, they're using the goodwill of the characters or the actors that the fans liked and enjoyed to basically try and
you know,
pop
they'll
up their
absolutely
shit.
like his account, like Stan Lee's, will be tweeting shit 5 years after he's dead.
After he's dead, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I think that should be universally condemned by everybody who uses social media. Like you're tweeting from a dead person's account. Like that, that to me is just beyond reprehensible. But I mean, it's par for the course for Hollywood, as I stated earlier, because they are disgusting people. But like that should be just like anytime that happens, like everybody should just be replying like "fuck you, you abomination, you corpse animator, you necrophilia loving weirdos." Like when a person dies, other than an announcement of like, you know, from the family, be like, you know, regret to inform you that on such and such day, you know, this person passed away in their sleep, surrounded by, or passed away in the hospital, surrounded by people who love them, blah blah blah. You know, thanks for your well wishes and everything. We, you know, and like a farewell thing. That's tasteful. That's proper. But like, you know, to be tweeting from the account like after they're dead, it's just disgusting.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And I fully expected to do that. That's when I see people like when Hollywood and they're using people like Billy, like that's the feeling I get. Like it's gross, it's dirty.
No, I agree. And that was disgusting and gross what they did with Stan Lee's account, constantly fucking tweeting.
I think they're still fucking doing it, aren't they?
Are they still doing it?
I think I muted it or blocked it or something, so I just wouldn't see it. But they may be. I don't know if they are or not, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Right.
Would not surprise me at all.
But anyway, that's pretty much I do have a little bit more Star Wars news, but that's pretty much it. I'm going to go into some Marvel stuff and some other crap at the moment. Do you guys still want to hang around, or?
I'm going to go get ready for bed. So I had a long day of appointments and all this stuff. And that that Star Wars back and forth was pretty cool. I got to listen in while I was at my doctor appointment. So that was good. Kind of wishing I was on panel though, because I was like, I could just say this.
Yeah.
Yeah, or I could just show this and whatever, but it was pretty good to listen to. So.
Well, I think they want to do it again sometime soon and hopefully get a few more like people that actually, because there was only really 2 people on there. I know Travis wasn't anyway, but I think they want to do something like that again in the future. So we'll definitely keep you in mind for that.
Okay.
You did get invited though, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I had 2 doctor appointments, and that's why I didn't have Snapchat either. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, Alora, thanks for coming on. Thanks for talking about Genesac with us. Don't worry. We know you're not stalking her. She's probably more stalking you, and she's an idiot. So don't worry.
I'm just laughing at this whole stupid situation. I mean, come on now. Do you have anything better to do with your life, woman?
Yeah.
Instead of sitting around in your house trying to come up with all these things to come and talk about just to get attention. But
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and the thing though is like if you're out there and you make a channel on YouTube and you're gonna take shots at other people and call them black pill and all this other stuff and crazy and wrong and all these other things, like you can't then turn around and be like, well, they're disagreeing with me and posting evidence of things I've said, so therefore it's stalking. I mean,
right.
That's the kind of claim that, like, I think if you make that claim as a YouTuber against another YouTuber, YouTube should then delete permanently your account.
Yeah, it's like saying that the EFAP crew, when they EFAP a video, means that they're stalking that account.
Mhm.
That's basically what it means.
A stronger case could probably be made for EFAP because, I mean, they do it for the length at which they do it. But, like, even then, I mean, there is such a thing as fair use, number one. So it's not like you're not taking the property. And two, like, it is absolutely, the concept of fair use is like, yes, we are using your own words as evidence of your own words.
Yeah.
Right.
That's about as fair game as it could possibly fucking get.
Yep.
Like, there's no, and to say or claim otherwise, I think you should lose your channel.
Mm-hmm. Well, after everything that you've said, I might lose my channel.
Why?
Because you're telling people to go and die.
His Hollywood rant.
Yeah, your Hollywood rant.
But so
I don't think it's against terms of service to hope people die.
I don't know.
I'm not telling people to go make it happen.
No, that's true. Let's not talk about it anymore. Alora, thank you again for coming on. Is there anything that you want to plug? Have you got anything coming up before you do shoot out?
Regular schedule next week for the channel, and we are going to talk more about Revan and the and events that he was in. So, you know, like historical events and stuff. And then whatever Cringe Factor brings, there's all kinds of news coming out and bullshit coming out that people have been sharing with me. So stay tuned for that. And then I will have my Luke Skywalker, Jedi Orders, original lore, and Disney lore up here pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then tomorrow night is the space scene. So catch us on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
awesome. Well, thanks again for coming on. We will I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Good night.
Take care.
Good night, you guys. Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
If the mods can possibly drop her link in the chat, that'd be appreciated. Greg, you want to hang around or
what are we talking about next?
I'm going to be going. I want to fly through it because I'm obviously getting hungry now, and we've been going for 2 hours, and we've just talked about a couple of fucking things. I was going to talk very quickly on the Blue Beetle thing.
Is that DC?
Yeah, I was going to talk a little bit about Loki and the trailer. There is Emilia Clarke and what her comments about. Well, she's a part of the Secret Invasion
thing. Yeah, I saw the clips going around on Twitter on that, and I'm like,
oh well, let's talk about that next.
Sure. I mean, I'll come out right and say it. Marvel is so fucking stupid that, like, it's not possible to make good Marvel because it's so stupid of a property at this point.
Yeah, I agree. There's a little bit of news about Gal Gadot playing Wonder Woman and continuing to playing Wonder Woman. They're going to be doing a third Wonder Woman movie with Gal Gadot. I'm actually going to take that off the list because I don't really care that much. I just thought it was funny that they obviously
announced that.
Well, let me bring that up first because we can just quickly touch on it.
Like, how is that going to fit into anything?
Here. So, hang on. Let me just blow this up just a touch. Okay. So, James Gunn hinted a while ago that they are keeping what worked and getting rid of what didn't. The general public love Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, so I'm glad to see that they are developing something with her in some capacity.
I'm sorry, they don't.
What
they didn't see Woman 84 in any.
Oh, that's so true.
However, like to say that, I mean, let's look it up.
While you're doing that, sorry, I need to run to the bathroom. Can you just entertain the chat with this topic?
Yeah, I'll go on another rant and see if I can take down your channel.
See if you can destroy my channel. I'll be right back, guys.
I'm trying to look up Wonder Woman 1984 worldwide. God. So obviously this is affected by by pandemic and everything, but like worldwide, $166 million. I would say that that's pretty substantial evidence that that no, people didn't really embrace Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. Because the funny thing is the same people that say that they'll say like, oh, they loved Wonder Woman, and but then they'll be like, but they didn't like Henry Cavill as Superman. It's like, well, the Superman movies did better than that. I know people aren't crazy about the Henry Cavill Superman movies, the Zack Snyder portrayal of Superman. Me personally, I loved Man of Steel. Didn't really care for the other movies near as much, but to say that like the people love Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, I think they could recast that one and just be fine.
I think what that's sort of saying is that the casting was actually pretty good. It's not necessarily that,
and
maybe.
See, I don't think it
Did you
even
say
was.
Did you see worldwide 166 million?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Its production budget was 200 million. So like not even close to making its production budget back, not much less any
Jesus
profit
Christ.
or anything. And granted, it was definitely impacted by pandemic. But here's the thing, like I think the first movie was successful because of the chemistry, and I think honestly it had more to do with Chris Pine than Gal Gadot.
Yeah, maybe.
Because if you look at the first Wonder Woman, it's basically it's a typical fish out of water kind of like setup, right? Like this person out of time, kind of lived in a bubble and in her weird little island Amazonian place, has no idea what the modern world is like, and like she's now like subjected to the modern world. Kind of like, oh, she's in a coma or in a bubble or in a bunker. I mean, this type of plot has been around for like since movies have been around, right?
But actually, I kind of think that they did it pretty well in that first Wonder Woman movie. It was enjoyable.
I think what made it work was the chemistry between her and Chris Pine.
I agree with that. I didn't like the way that it ended.
But then they killed her. Then they killed Chris Pine at the end, and which sets up this like, okay, we want to repeat it for the second movie. How do we get Chris Pine back in?
Yeah.
So then you do this convoluted wish thing.
Yeah. Where she rapes a dude.
Yeah, kind of. And then on top of that, you have the whole like the other Snyder stuff that's going on, and she was kind of annoying in BVS and
I didn't mind her. I didn't mind her as Wonder Woman, but again, I'm not like I'm more a Marvel person than I am a DC person. So for me, it was like, yeah, it's fine. It's kind of like with for me, it was a bit like the Star Trek, right? We've talked about this. There's some the J.J. Abrams Trek stuff that it's not great, but the casting was really good. And I kind of feel the same way about some of the Snyder stuff, right? With
stop right there. You cannot tell me that the Snyder stuff had good casting when Ezra Miller was a part of it. Period. End of story. That's
okay.
It. That's probably
the outlier. That's probably
Ezra
the
Miller
outlier.
is an automatic fail for the whole thing.
That's probably the outlier. But I think the way that the casting for Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman,
Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, that was a hit.
That was average.
That was shit. He was shit. Everything he's in is shit.
The Trinity, the main three, the Trinity. That I think that they were casted pretty well, and that includes Wonder Woman. That's just my thoughts on it. So I agree with you. I agree with you in
Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, and I guess fuck Aquaman, the actual most successful movie out of
Aquaman I think was actually cast pretty well too.
I mean, like if you're gonna make him into a mindless surfer dude, sure.
Whoa. But anyway,
Ray Fisher, like, ugh.
I just thought it was funny that there's a possibility that James Gunn is going to keep Wonder Woman and Ezra, Gal Gadot and Ezra, and get rid of Henry Cavill. Probably the one thing the one Superman or the one person that suits Superman probably the best that's out there at the moment.
But the guy that's supposedly the replacement looks just like Cavill, only younger. So like it's fine.
I haven't even seen it. Who is it?
They wanted. I don't know his name. Is nobody as far as I look. But it looked to me like it was like, okay, that's Henry Cavill, like 10 years younger.
10 years
Cavill's
ago.
getting too old to play Superman for an extended period of time. Like I'm fine with them replacing Cavill.
Fair enough.
Like I don't think. Like,
but I thought. But also too, I kind of think it's pretty fucking malicious of them to have Henry Cavill announced that he is going to reprise his role as Superman.
Oh, the way they strung him along.
That's right. And then rip the carpet out from underneath him. Like, that was pretty fucking shady. That's just typical Hollywood, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean,
anyway,
I think it's really typical Warner.
Yeah, right.
Warner doesn't have any loyalty to its people.
Let's keep going. Let's keep going with this. So there was obviously this, right? So Golden Age Geek says basically his comment on this tweet is screw the fans. The translation, screw the fans. We know better than you. Let's take a listen to this.
I don't read anything, and I find it makes it better.
Yeah.
Because if people don't like something that I've done, or a choice that I've made, or a choice that the franchise that I'm in has made, we've already done it, so there's not much I can do. Do you know what I mean?
I hate the way that she looks down the camera and she's like directly addressing you, the fans, because they've already done it. Now, I get that it's not the actors, it's the writers that have written these scripts, but it's what she says at the very beginning here that actually gets me.
I don't read anything, and I find it makes it better.
I don't read anything, and I find it makes it better to not read the source material.
No,
I fundamentally disagree
that's not what
with
she's
that.
saying.
What's she saying?
The context of what she's saying is she doesn't read any of the criticisms and the stuff coming up because she's talking about like the response to her work. And like honestly, she's kind of like for her own good, she's probably being smart there.
Fair enough.
Like why subject yourself to a bunch of people like ranting that they hated your character in Star Wars or Secret Invasion or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's just like, well, what do you want me to do about it? Like, I'm sorry. Like,
yeah,
I think she's fine there.
Okay.
I honestly, I think that's.
The context wasn't there for me, so I took it differently. I took it that she didn't read the source material, and she finds that it makes it better.
No, I think it's I think she. I mean, she could mean that, but I think given the other things she says, like, it's more likely she's talking about the people criticizing it after it's done.
Yeah, okay. All right, so that's really a nothing burger.
And I mean, she learned a pretty good lesson there too, because man, did people hated what they did to her character in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't even remember. Like, I was never a big Game of Thrones fan.
No, me either. Honestly, I never watched it.
I didn't find it to be that entertaining. Like, I know that's sacrilege, but like, man, did people hate the way that they turned her character at the end, specifically her character. Like, all of a sudden she's just like this mass murderer that like lights an entire town of innocent people on fire because she hears bells or something. Like, I watched the breakdowns of that episode of Game of Thrones because that was entertaining. Like, listening to people talk about it, like, it's like, holy shit, that they made a character psychotic. Like, yeah, kind of sucks.
Yep, bamboozled again. I don't know, because she says it's what she says after. Like, she says that she doesn't read anything and she finds it makes it better. Is she saying that she finds it makes it better for her? Like, the way that statement comes across to me just sounds like she's talking about source material. It doesn't sound like she's talking about reading the criticism.
Yeah, but it's right after that because she's saying, like, it's already been made. There's nothing, can't really do anything about it. I think that's the giveaway there. But I like, should they never? Should an actor never care about people's response to their work? Like, I don't know if being completely, uncaring about the reception of the stuff you're in is necessarily a good career thing either. Like, you should care for your own career's sake that that people are responding and to the work you're doing. But she's probably set for life anyway, so
Yeah.
And she's got a British accent, and that makes her automatically cute.
Yeah. Did you watch Loki with me?
No. Couldn't pay me to watch anything Marvel these days.
I thought we watched that together.
We may have, you may have showed me a clip or something like that, but I did not watch that series. No.
Yeah. Okay.
I haven't watched Marvel since Endgame.
Did you see the trailer? Did you see the trailer for Loki too?
No.
No. Let's watch it. Now this is the funny thing too with this is and I forgot to mention this in my review or my reaction to this trailer is they put so much emphasis on Lady Loki in season 1, and she's just nowhere to be seen in this one.
Well, should that make everybody happy? All the people who can only think in terms of one node and call everything MCU. That's their entire criticism for everything ever. Is just, oh my god, a female's in it.
Yeah.
Obi? Hello? We have a little bit of a situation we wanted to run by you.
Mobius! Wow! Great to see you!
Do you know who that is?
No.
Short Round.
Oh, that's it. The actor who played Short Round. Okay.
Yeah.
Good for him. Everybody loves him now.
Yeah.
What's been happening?
Wow! Time slipping.
Wait, you know that?
Yeah.
You've seen that?
Yeah.
Can you fix that?
No. It's impossible to time slip in the TVA.
I know, but we just saw it happen.
Yeah.
I've been pulled through time between the past and the present.
Hello?
If what I saw is true, there's nothing that stands between this world and utter destruction.
Only one way to find out.
Again, huh?
Huh?
There's nothing to stand in the way between this universe and utter destruction. I'm like, oh, again.
Yeah. But the other thing too that I pointed this out in my reaction is, remember when Loki was a bit of a badass villain in the original Avengers movie?
That was a long time ago. Yeah.
It was a long time ago. What they've done to Loki is fucking, again, an abomination.
Well, I think that started with Taika Waititi.
Yeah, probably.
Little good old-fashioned leg work. Listen, we have different styles. You're a man of action, which is fine. I take a more slow, deliberate, cerebral approach. It's really goodbye.
It's up to us to save this place.
Is this cracked?
Until the next show and movie comes out, and then somebody else will have to save everything all over again, and then until the next thing comes out, and then it's going to be the end of the world again. Until the next thing that comes out, and it's going to be the end of the world again. Until the next thing comes out, that's going to be the end of the world again. This is so compelling. This is great stuff.
Yeah.
I can't believe that people aren't just tuning in every week to see the universe almost get destroyed, but not get destroyed in the last episode. Because this is just fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever we do, we're playing God.
Whatever you do won't matter for the next season.
But how do you choose who lives and who dies? Make the hard choice. It's him.
You better run!
War is on its way. Come on, you're the god of mischief. Always have been. Always will be.
A little over the top, don't you think? I thought it was spot on.
I'm so glad they got Owen Wilson to play his character from Armageddon.
So like again, like the MCU is it's another broken franchise, really.
It's repetitive garbage,
and they broke it. But see, that's where the first three phases of the MCU were really good, because yes, it was an overarching story, and yes, it was all culminating to the end of the universe. But not every single story that they came out with started and ended with an end of the world situation or end of the universe situation. It culminated to be that kind of story. But like, you know, when you watch something like, let's say, Guardians of the Galaxy, it wasn't like they were saving the end of the world. You know?
Yeah. That's when every season and every movie is like, there's this galaxy-wide threat. Like it just over time, like that only works for so long, and then people just start rolling their eyes because it's just like until the next one and until the next one. It's like you don't even care if this one gets resolved or not, because they're just going to invent another one that's even worse than the previous one.
Yeah.
And like they can't slow anything down. They can't make anything smaller. It's all got to be like, you know, entire universe implicating events that you can't miss, because you won't know what's going on. And it's like, but people look at it and go like, we really don't care what's going on. And it's not like Marvel's that like cerebral that we can't just like jump into it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if you jump into some of this shit and you don't know what's been going on, it's just like, yeah, who cares? Does it even matter?
Yeah.
Because it's not like it even has to, like, it's not even going to be consistent with what came out before anyway, because you're just going to fucking change the past or change the universe number, or like,
that's what I was saying though as well, is like from season 1 to season 2, these two seasons don't feel like they roll off each other, or the second season doesn't feel like it rolls off of season 1 at all. Like the end of season 1 ends with this thing of like they've ended up, you know, Loki's ended up going into a different place in time, or a different timeline, where the Owen Wilson character has no idea who Loki actually is, and Kang the Conqueror is running the TVA. Like that's how that first season ends. And then I don't know, that obviously there are elements that you see Kang the Conqueror in that trailer and stuff like that, but it doesn't feel like an extension of the story. It doesn't feel like it moves anything more forward.
Well, and Loki is just Loki without Thor isn't.
Well, it's kind of like what we were saying about the character of Andor, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just,
you know, it's not a character that you can really just do this individual story on. And the fact that Loki has spent 2 seasons now in this TVA thing and not going off and being the god of mischief and then being reprimanded by Thor.
It's him fucking with Thor that is it's the whole fun thing about him. Like other than that, he's just kind of a generic mid skill level villain character.
Yeah.
Like really, I don't 100%. Think he could be interesting, but like the most interesting thing about him is when he's interacting with his brother.
Mm-hmm.
And you pull his brother out of it, and it's just not the same.
No, I
mean, like, why is Thor 2? Why does Thor 2 suck? Where's Loki?
I can't even remember Thor 2. It's been that long. Is that the one with the fucking
Dark World.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Merging universes and all that other stuff. It's just I I don't think it's as terrible as like people remember it to be. And to be honest, like the Thor movies were never like billion-dollar movies anyway.
Yeah.
But like I love the first Thor movie.
Yeah.
I could still sit down and watch that movie, and I in general I hate superhero shit nowadays. I'm just so over it. But like the first one doesn't really feel like that much of a superhero movie. Again, it's a classic fish out of water scenario. You got Thor, who's coming from Asgard, that's now on modern day Earth and doing like old timey things like breaking cups on the ground and being old fashioned and stuff like that makes it kind of entertaining. And you get that moment where like he makes the hero sacrifice, gets rewarded with it, with getting his powers back. That scene where the hammer comes flying across like from miles away, and he's like his dead body's laying there, and all of a sudden his hand reaches up and it grabs the hammer and lightning all around, and like you see that scene and you're just kind of automatically like yeah. And it's the same moment. Like Thor is capable as a character. He's one of the best characters the MCU has for those type of moments, because like, I mean, the scene in Infinity War where he shows up in Wakanda, right? He uses the Bifrost. He's got the axe coming in and he lands there. The battle is kind of like they're losing the battle. He shows up, his fucking axe goes flying across the battlefield, taking out all these fucking monsters left and right. And everybody's like, whoa, what the hell's going on?
Bring me Thanos.
And then he like reaches his hand out and the axe comes back to him and it's all sparkly and lightning and he's like eyes are glowing and he's just like fucking yeah. I mean, time to kick some ass. And that's another moment where you're just kind of like, yes,
fuck yeah.
And his character is uniquely capable of that. And you just, and what they did with him in not Love and Thunder, was Ragnarok, and then what they did with him in Endgame, and then what they did in Love and Thunder is they made him a joke. And now his character is no longer capable of those moments.
Because just going back to
buffoon.
But just going back to Loki, this just takes me back about the whole good and evil thing, right? It's like you can't. It's just the same two sides of the same coin. What we were sort of saying about the Star Wars, good and evil. They can't have these evil characters anymore be actually evil, or the villains can't actually be villainous. It's they've just got to be misunderstood. That's really what it sort of comes down to, I think, now as well.
Like it's not that like I don't mind when they go into a bad guy's backstory, but like, hey, what made him evil? Like, what got him here? What is his motivation? Like, why does he want to do what he's doing? Like, that's good. But where they make the mistake is they try to justify it.
Yeah.
When they start trying to rationalize it and be like, well, like this is a valid excuse for why he's doing unspeakably evil things, and be like, no, you lost me there, because like understanding what their goals are and their motivations are fine. But some people are just evil, and some people are just greedy, and some people are just that way. Like, you don't have to make everybody like to have this tragic, they were abandoned as a child, or their mom was beaten, or their dad was a drunk, or all these other dumb things that they throw in there. And you're like, well, that explains and justifies why this person is the way they did. Like, no, it doesn't. Like, it may explain how they got there, but it doesn't justify it and it doesn't excuse it. And like, where I get upset when they do this shit in modern movies is when they try and rationalize and justify it and be like, well, what he's doing is understandable. It's like, no, it's still wrong, and the person's still evil. Like, they still, like, ultimately, no matter what happens to us in the course of our lives, we have agency. We are responsible for our choices. We are responsible for our actions. Like, even like, because a lot of people suffer some horrible shit and they don't end up becoming like horrific sociopaths, because that's not who they are.
All right, moving on. Now this is honestly, I actually just sort of watched a little bit of this now. This isn't what I thought it was, but I'm going to share it really quickly anyway. So the David Ayer, released the Ayer cut, has decided to come out with a tweet retweeting the Blue Beetle account, saying representation matters. Oh God. And it's to get to know the Blue Beetle familiar. Because we're going to be Spanish because the guy from Cobra Kai's in it. And literally, this is just them getting asked questions.
I'm sorry, is Blue Beetle a Hispanic character? Like, I know nothing about Blue Beetle.
I know nothing about it either.
Like 99% of everybody on Earth.
Yeah, I don't know. But apparently,
it sounds like a really lame hero.
And it's literally just them being asked questions by the fans.
George, anything cheesy?
Mine is edible.
Red Ruby Disleased by Nicki Minaj.
Mine is Love Song by The Cure. I saw The Cure at the Hollywood Bowl. I'm all in the 90s. I know.
Mushrooms, but I like the supreme pizza.
Is George Lopez still a thing? Like, has he done anything like?
I don't know.
In 20 years?
I don't think so.
Or is he just like, I'm popular because I'm George Lopez?
I don't know.
And I had a mediocre sitcom 30 years ago.
Anyway,
mediocrely successful. Like, I don't, quality wise, I don't know, because I didn't watch.
It's just and I don't know if you noticed this, but David Ayer is also a he/him. Just so you know.
Nice.
Honestly,
like, I gotta one thing, like, I'm so sick of the release the crap hashtag at this point.
Oh, you have been for ages.
I'm super, super, super over that. Like, fuck all your releases in your fucking ass.
Yep.
Because they all suck. Like, gave the one a chance. I was in favor of giving the one a chance. Instead of a good movie, we got almost the same plot, and then a bunch of weirdo ladies singing to fucking Aquaman while holding a sweater. Cool, that was worth it.
Yeah, that was horrible.
And
I fell asleep watching the Snyder cut.
I don't give a shit about the Ayer cut. I don't give a shit about like what was his movie? What was his movie?
Who?
David
Suicide Squad.
Suicide Squad. I don't give a shit about the Suicide Squad. I think what's his name looked like shit as the Joker. I'm honestly kind of over. I don't give a shit about the Joker, and I don't give a shit about Harley Quinn. I think what's her name, Margot Robbie's hot, but I mean, I'm certainly never going to see the Barbie movie either. I'm not going to go see a movie just because she's a person in it is hot. Like, I can download fucking porn.
Yeah.
Like, it's, it's the modern times. Like, I don't need to waste hours watching a stupid fucking movie because one of the chicks in it is hot. Like, hot's dime a dozen in Hollywood. I no interest in seeing that garbage. I think like James Gunn's version of it was a spectacular failure as well. So naturally, he got the keys to everything in the DC universe because in Hollywood, the more you suck and the bigger you fail financially,
the more you
the
get.
more responsibility you get. So I'm fully expecting Kathleen Kennedy to actually be named like the number 2 in command of all of Disney.
Yeah.
Because I mean, based on that, like if you think that like Indiana Jones was a failure financially, then
Give her a promotion.
That means she should be running the world.
Yeah.
You know, and James Gunn, like other than Guardians of the Galaxy, basically a box office failure. And yeah, sure, give him everything with DC. That's great.
Yeah.
And Blue Beetle, like who gives a shit about Blue Beetle? Who gives a shit about representation of Blue Beetle? Like, is that your marketing ploy? You think a bunch of Hispanic people are going to go see?
But see, that's the
Blue
marketing
Beetle?
ploy. That's the entire marketing ploy. That's the marketing playbook right now. Is promote how representative and how virtuous we are, and that will get people in the
So now, if I
seats.
don't go see this movie,
You're a racist.
I must hate Hispanic people.
Correct.
Is that how it works? Good.
Correct.
Fine. I do.
And when it does,
Absolutely hate them.
and when it does fail, because nobody gives a fuck about Blue Beetle, that's the line that they'll spin. All the racist people don't want to go and see it.
Well, I mean, that's the angle that they do for everything else. So, like, yeah, I can see him running that playbook, but like, has it worked? Like, I guess
no, never has.
It works
but
in
they don't
their
care.
circles. It works in their circles. When they go to
Exactly.
the party, that's
and it
the
makes them
excuse
feel
they'll go.
better. It makes them feel better about creating a shit show or a shit movie or writing a shit script.
So I guess it really just is for themselves and their own little circle jerks.
100%.
Like the rest of us don't give a shit about that. Like, no,
100%.
Nobody cares about almost any of these superhero characters other than like the main top couple.
100%.
In Blue Beetle.
Changing subject. I'm guessing you're saying see Oppenheimer? No, I haven't seen it yet. I do want to see it, but I don't know whether or not I'll end up going to the movies to see it or not. But I'm intrigued to watch it. I know that Greg.
I don't support Hollywood scum.
Yeah. All right, moving right along. We're going to get through some more things here. So, speaking of representation, you've seen all the shit about the Snow White stuff, haven't you? Now,
I'm trying to avoid it.
No, I know that you don't care about, Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, and neither do I, right? But you've got to admit that it's pretty stupid.
No, I'm a non-pedophilic adult male, and so I don't give a shit about Disney princess crap.
Correct. But you've got to admit that them casting a Latino, I think she is, as Snow White with brownish skin is pretty stupid. Now, based on
the thing is though that just saying casting a Snow White is as stupid as casting anything Snow White.
No, I
because
know
casting Snow White.
I know, but the fact that they are Greg, Greg, and they're casting it as a non-white character, basically.
Who cares?
You got to admit it's pretty fucking retarded. And if you and you've probably seen some of the promotions out there about how she's not going to be saved by the prince. Like they're basically changing the meaning and
retarded.
That's
retarded.
Retarded. I agree.
She just keeps repeating. Like she's been given one talking point, and like she just repeats it on every single interview.
She's not going to be saved by the prince. She's not going to be saved by the prince. She's not going to be saved by the prince. Like keep repeating it, and hopefully it'll make it okay with people. I don't think that's how it should work.
Here's the thing. Here's where I'm at. Like, I don't care about the race of Snow White, and like I get it. Like, oh, she's supposed to be white, because the line is her skin is as
and who is the fairest of them all? Yeah, and they've changed the meaning of that. She actually came out and said like, oh, she's going to be just. That's what they're changing the fairest,
like equity of fairness.
Yeah,
like, I don't care. Like look, they can cast a black person as Snow White. I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's like, do I think that just because of that one line in the movie, like, do I think it's an integral part of the character? No. Now, if they make her like a ethnic character that is like deeply culturally ethnic and like try and throw her into that Snow White fairy tale, probably not going to work.
But you've also seen the Seven Dwarves, right? Like there's no dwarves anymore. You can't have
No,
little
there's one.
people.
There's one.
Yeah.
There's one.
But okay, so you've seen all of that stuff. Anyway,
I think it's
this is-
fantastic. I think dwarves should never be cast in Hollywood for anything. It's great.
This is at the actors' strike. She decided to make a statement.
Who's it? Oh, this is
the 21-year-old actress that's playing Snow White.
Okay.
If I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
No, you don't, bitch.
So this is the thing. She's basically saying, like, however much she was paid, even if let's say it's just a simple $1 million, right, to play the role as Snow White. She gets her upfront fee, and then because she's standing there for 18 hours in a Snow White dress, that means that she should be paid for every hour that it's streamed. Well, I get up every fucking day and I go and work in my suit for 38 hours a week. That means every time one of my customers comes in for service and all of that sort of thing, I want a residual on that. It's such a fucking stupid premise.
No, a more equivalent thing, Rhino, would be like you should get money for every mile.
Yeah, for every kilometer. That's right.
For every kilometer
for a car that I sell, for every
you sell
K,
a car,
I
you
want
should
money.
get a commission for every fucking kilometer.
Correct.
That it travels.
It is so fucking stupid. And see, the funny thing is this isn't even what the actors' protest is protesting, I believe. She's just coming up with this is what she wants.
I mean, it is part of their thing is residuals on streaming services. And one of their points, the Screen Actors Guild points, is they want clarity as far as they want transparency as far as what's being viewed on the streaming platforms so that they can get the residuals, because all that information is kept internally. I want that information public because I think it'll expose the streaming platforms to be the monumental financial failures that I think they actually are, as I suspect that they are. And that a tremendous investor fraud has been perpetrated by the industry on investors. I don't think streaming will ever make money.
Just to answer this, I'm a car salesman.
So I think like, okay, so like I worked for a retail company and I set up 3 different new stores in my career. Should I get commissions? Because like, but
what you should get, Greg, is let's say somebody came into the store that you work in and they went and bought a pair of pants and a t-shirt. Every time that person wakes up in the morning and puts on that pair of pants and t-shirt, you should get a kickback. You should get a commission.
Absolutely. I think like when these services or the Hollywood companies sell the rights, the distribution to another company to air it, I think whatever, like, if they want to have as part of their contract some sort of residual payout, like that's something that you can bargain for. But like, I think then you should get less money up front for just doing the role. Like your upfront fee should be less, and if you want bigger back end deals, more residuals and everything after the fact, then the fees up front should be substantially lower. But if you're going to advocate for that, then you have to then you should have to also then contribute to the production costs of the things that you're in.
Yes, but also too, Ryan actually did a video on this. And so if let's say it fails to make any money whatsoever, does that mean that the actors need to give money back to the studios?
It should be yes. Like if the gate swings one way, it should probably
swing the other. I agree.
I mean, like, is that even realistic? No, but I mean that's part of that's part of the deal. And if you want to negotiate, that's fine. But when a studio doesn't sell it and they just air it on their own platforms that they already own, it hasn't transferred hands.
No, I
it didn't
agree.
get sold. And if it didn't get sold and there's no money exchanged, your cut of $0 is $0.
$0. That's right.
Righteously and justifiably so, you should get $0.
Nothing. Correct.
Zero.
You've produced no actual income. You've produced no revenue.
Well, you've also done no additional work.
Mm-hmm. It's like if I don't sell a car, then I don't make a commission. Simple.
I mean, you make your wages.
But you were right. The equivalent for me would be every kilometer that a person that I sell their car to them, for every kilometer that they do, I should be paid for that. And the fact that she gets to stand there for 18 hours in a fucking Disney dress, in that 18 hours that you were standing there in that Disney princess fucking dress, were you acting that entire 18 hours? No, you were probably fucking sitting there.
There's no circumstances ever that she's standing for 18 hours in character, in costume.
No. And I agree with this. I see where the actors are coming from over the whole AI image thing. I agree with that. That's a bit ridiculous. The fact that they just want to use everybody's likeness, basically just pay them once, use everybody's likeness, and then they can just use them whenever they want. I think that's
not
wrong.
even an actual. The problem with that whole argument, though, is like I don't even think that that's an actual sticking point. I think that the Actors Guild and the studios are so far off on everything else, and the studios are like, we're not even gonna talk about this other thing.
Yep.
Until we're a lot closer on the other more important stuff. I legitimately don't like, because the idea is like, well, they can use their likeness in anything ever for the rest of time. Like, I don't think that'll ever actually get done. However, I think there could be a scenario where the studios could get this concession to be like, yeah, we're going to scan your likeness and then we'll get permission to use your likeness in this specific piece of work.
They can do it, but every time they use their likeness, they need to pay them.
But like, I think it would be just you would use their likeness for that one specific project.
Yeah.
And what we're mostly talking about here is like background extras, faces in the crowd, shit like that. Not speaking roles, not major roles. And the idea is like, well, what if the actor makes it big later and, but they were an extra in some movie? That means they could digitally use them in everything in perpetuity. It's like, well, no, but like you can structure the contracts and the negotiation. Like, I don't think the studios are going to be like, well, no, we insist on this. It's just literally they are so far off on everything else that this isn't, that's not even worth arguing. It's kind of like not to get into this specific debate, but like it'd be like, you get the two sides on abortion, and the one side only ever wants to argue about like, well, what if it's an instance of assault by a relative on the third Tuesday of a leap year, in March. And like you get to be like, well, what about this scenario? Like, would you okay an abortion under that situation? And you're just like, well, like, how about we argue the 99.99999% of the other ones, and not like litigate and get into the weeds over this one weird scenario that you've made up. And I think that's the bulk of it.
Rogue One did it with Peter Cushing and Carrie Fisher.
With family's permission.
With family's permission, that's right. And they would have had to have paid for it. They would have had to give money to their estates, to their families, or whatever.
Well, and it was literally Carrie Fisher's daughter that stood in for the role.
Correct.
Like it was.
Yeah. It's a little bit different to what they're trying to obviously push now. All right. Let's continue. Let's continue moving on. We're going to go straight into this, and then we'll we'll go through a couple of other quick things, and we'll wrap up the stream. So let's get into this. Okay, this week we have only got 3 nominees for Seal of the Week this week. I was a little bit behind, so I wasn't able to actually go out and find a 4th one. However, nominee number 1, we're starting with Fred, says, telling y'all, I don't know what this is supposed to be, RN.
Right now? Telling y'all right now.
Telling y'all right now, thank you. The Ahsoka series is going to be the best live-action Star Wars series of all time, and it won't be close.
Well, of course it is, because it's the most recent one. And the most recent one is the best one.
It's always
ever.
the best one, correct. Better than Boba Fett, better than Kenobi, better than Andor, and yes, better than The Mandalorian. And
Can
Greg
we
is
look
right.
at Fred's tweet history and find the times where he said that, that each one of those shows was the best
Each one of those
live
shows
action
is
ever?
the best. Correct. Yep.
Because
That's
I can
exactly
almost
what you would
guarantee it.
actually find. Nominee number 2. Now, Jacob was actually a nominee for this take last week. This is seriously one of the best moments in the entire saga. And then, of course, we've got OG Jenna. How anyone could say The Last Jedi isn't a great Star Wars film is baffling to me. It's art. Thank you.
I mean, that's frustrating. I mean, it's stupid. I mean, you can make the argument for everything. Like, if Rian Johnson filmed himself taking a shit, you'd be like, well, it's art.
It's art. That's right. And nominee number 3. Now, this isn't it. Of course, this isn't it. What's your most watched Star Wars film? Mine is Empire Strikes Back. # Star Wars. What's yours, Greg?
I don't even know.
You don't know?
If
you had to
usually,
take
like, I tend to watch them all together, so it's probably going to be A New Hope. From all the times where I started watching them and I didn't maybe finish watching all of them.
Yep. Fair enough. Well, let's have a look at what Dan has to say. I have seen The Last Jedi over 60 times.
I believe it.
I have watched the original trilogy probably about, I don't know, fucking 150, 200 times.
Way more than 60 times.
Way more than 60 times. Makes me wonder how many times he's actually watched them. But man, we watched The Last Jedi for the 2nd time or maybe the 3rd time with that watch party thing that we did.
I saw it in the theater.
In the theater, that's right. And then I might have watched it again after that, and then we watched it that time. It's insufferable. I will never sit through that movie ever again.
I could talk at length about all the events that happened in the movie. But yeah, like I would never sit through because it's the only time I've actually well, I mean, I guess the last Star Wars movie I've seen in the theater, so of course it would be, but like, I never imagined that I would literally be restless and bored in the middle of a Star Wars movie.
Just wanting to get out of there.
And The Last Jedi literally like angered me and then just bored me to death.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the center part of the whole movie, I mean, the whole premise of the movie is just boring as fuck. But like, you're just like, what is this? Like, okay, clearly we're not going to see Luke Skywalker be any good. Like, and even watching it the first time, you're kind of like, well, maybe he'll be redeemed at the end of the movie. Like he'll show up and like, be the hero again. And it's like, and of course, Rian Johnson subverts your expectation and kind of makes you think that until you're like, wait, why does he look different?
Yeah. Why does he act different?
And like, what is this fight?
Yeah. So they're your nominees, guys. We got one there. Ahsoka's going to be the best. We've got this one that The Last Jedi is art and doesn't understand how people can not think that it's a great film. And you've got Dan, good old Dan, saying that he's watched The Last Jedi over 60 times. Congratulations. All right, get your nominees in. The poll is in the chat. Get your nominees. All right, let's quickly fly through some of these really quickly while we get those votes in. So I just saw this. Comes from Star Wars Facts. Writer Stuart Beattie says in his vision of Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Vader killed Reva and she didn't know he was Anakin. Well, that makes actually a little bit more sense if that actually had have happened. True? Now, I don't know if Stuart Beattie still had something to do with the final product that we ended up getting. Based on what he's saying here and what he wanted to do, I don't think so, but you never know. And the quote, I was like, how'd she know that? All she saw was Anakin as Anakin. In her mind, the Jedi Council were the biggest villains in the galaxy. I don't know. But all I know is that Reva got stabbed once as a child, got stabbed again as an adult, by Vader both times, but the first time was by Vader as Anakin, and the second time was by Vader as Vader, and her whole thing, her whole character arc, and her whole motivation is that she was going to serve Vader so that she could trap Vader, so that she could kill Vader.
But then not even come close.
But then not even complete any of that. And she thought that she'd get revenge by killing his son, even though, how does she know that even, how does she know? The whole thing really comes down
Well,
to
she knows because Bail Organa's a retard who left a voicemail saying who Luke was, basically.
Yeah.
But the idea is here's one thing that I absolutely hate with modern Star Wars fans, and these are particularly younger ones. This idea that the Jedi Council were the villains in the story, at all, is it infuriates me. And it's propagated by a lot of people who are just weird Vader fetishists, like Star Wars theory, who exist to try and justify and rationalize Vader becoming, Anakin Skywalker becoming one of the most terrible people in the history of the galaxy. In the end, he does turn back the light, but it doesn't redeem Anakin in the sense he doesn't get off the hook for all the terrible things that he did. He made those decisions, and the Jedi Council maybe not understanding quite how to deal with him doesn't excuse Anakin for the actions he took. This is a guy who was my woman is going to die. I've seen it in a dream, so therefore I'm justified in murdering a bunch of children.
Yeah, to save her life.
To maybe have a chance.
All good.
To save her life.
Anyway,
Anakin's the bad guy, and nothing can undo that. He made terrible decisions because he was a bad person.
Yep.
But
then he was redeemed and saved by his son.
The idea, the lesson of Star Wars is a cautionary tale of don't be Anakin. Don't let your abilities, your arrogance, your lust for power, and your emotions
get the better of you
and turn you into a terrible, terrible person. And I mean, it's kind of the whole thing is everybody's fascinated with well, what if Superman were bad? Well, it's there's a huge fascination with that kind of storyline. Be well, what if Superman wasn't raised by the Kents and he turned out to be an awful person? That kind of person, the powers that he has, what could he do with it? It's well, I mean, what makes Superman special is that he didn't do that.
Yeah. And he learned good life lessons.
Despite having the power and the ability to do that, he stayed grounded. He didn't believe that he could.
He didn't go bad, basically.
His will use his power to dictate his will upon people. Yeah. Anakin did believe that.
Yeah.
He said it. He said as much. Like Anakin's a bad
But
person.
Just with this series, with the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, it is just riddled with the question of why and how. Just they're the two biggest questions that you could ask about the majority of that entire series is why and how.
Just how do you make Vader like absolutely like what could you have done differently to make Vader suck even more as a character than what?
I don't know, because he sucks pretty fucking bad.
He's
in that
awful.
series.
He's grossly incompetent. He's a buffoon.
Yeah.
He's a bystander. He gets led around. He is like he's just fucking terrible. And then at the end, he gets his ass beaten after he follows somebody and then demands to know why
they're following
him.
And then Obi-Wan doesn't even kill him, despite the fact that he's a Sith Lord, tells him that Anakin is gone and has him on the back foot and could probably just go over and chop his head off.
Yeah.
And save Anakin's life, basically.
Honestly,
we'll leave it to Luke.
If my goal was to set out and make Vader look shitty, like I don't know
how you could have done a better job of it than what they did.
Right. Without it being so fucking obvious. Like, I mean, there's some obvious things you could do to make it worse, but like, I mean, to do what they did to ruin his character, but kind of look like they weren't trying to ruin the character. I mean, like, I guess that's like, if the goal was to wreck the character of Anakin Skywalker and Darth Vader, like, congratulations, you did it.
Yeah.
Like, bravo.
Mm-hmm. Abaru, this is the first comment I'm seeing from you, and I just wanted to say thanks again for the $10 if you didn't hear me earlier. He said, great job on Side Scrollers. Overall, good discussion. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, let's just continue on because I just want to get through these and we'll go back and finish off Seal of the Week. So you can only keep one. Which one is it? Well, this is easy for me. You can get rid of Andor. You can get rid of the Clone Wars. It's tough though between these two for me. Do you have a pick?
Oh yeah, you get rid of Revenge of the Sith. You can keep Empire.
Yeah, watch Empire. I'm probably the same.
Because like trilogy-wise, the original trilogy is the superior one. So why break up the superior trilogy?
Yeah,
that's my sole logic. Like I think Revenge of the Sith is a good movie.
Yeah,
but I think you got to keep Empire simply because of like even. I'll put it this way: if it was Return of the Jedi versus Revenge of the Sith, I would say Return of the Jedi still.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think the OT is the superior one.
Although I do love. Sorry, did you say between Revenge of the Sith and Return of the Jedi, you'd pick Revenge of the Sith?
No, I'd still say Jedi.
Still say Jedi. Sorry, me too. Me too. Because that throne room fucking scene is Soul Assassin would pick Revenge. That's fine. It's a good movie.
Yes,
it is.
It's my favorite of the prequel movies for sure.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I would keep the original trilogy 100% intact. And the other option to be like, I wouldn't keep Clone Wars if you paid me $4 billion.
Yeah.
In fact, that would be the first thing I would decanonize. Like if I control the thing, I would decanonize the Clone Wars. And then I'd wait like 5 years before I decanonize the sequel trilogy.
So you do that first. You're such a dog.
I would absolutely, and I would make it clear in no uncertain terms that Filoni fans are not welcome. They're despised and they're viewed as the disgusting creatures that they are.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd rather have Rian Johnson do 100 Star Wars movies than Dave Filoni be working for Lucasfilm for one more second.
I'd decanonize Rebels before TCW as well.
How would you if you decanonize TCW, like you are decanonizing Rebels?
Yeah, correct. You actually are. Because there's a lot of crossover into Rebels.
Well, how would Ahsoka be like suddenly she's inserted into Rebels?
Yeah. And also Rex and stuff like that.
Yeah, like where the hell did they come from?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's good selections there, guys. And then we've got this from Star Wars Holocron. Lucasfilm are reportedly considering turning The Mandalorian Season 4 into a theatrical release movie. This film would most likely be directed by Dave Filoni and lead directly into the already announced Mandoverse crossover movie.
Why? Okay. I'm gonna say it. Like, I don't, of all the things that Disney has announced, I think the least likely thing is that Dave Filoni actually helms an entire actual movie, a live action movie production. I think as a director, I don't think he's qualified. I don't think he has the experience. I don't think he has any of that. Like they thus far, they like Ahsoka is the only thing that they've ever really, and the animated crap. They're like, here, go run the cartoons, Dave.
Yeah.
Leave
and I think he
leave
should
the
just
live action stuff to the adults. Which,
but even
even
all the
Favreau's
cartoon
awful
stuff that
attitude,
he's
but
done, but even in all the cartoon stuff that Dave Filoni's done, he still can't keep canon held down and
I don't think they give a shit about that.
down, and lore held down and all of the other stuff. He even goes against all the shit that he's done himself.
Do you expect, like, if you're a movie producer, do you expect when you hire Dave Filoni that the movie's going to come in on time and on budget?
Oh, no way.
No fucking way. Like,
no
he
way.
has no experience and no history of that. Like, why?
And then again, you look at the budgets that they've got right now for some
Right.
of these, even just the Disney Plus shows. It's just fucking wow.
Yeah, you're going to put him in charge of something like on that scale?
No way.
I'm sorry, I just don't believe it.
No.
Like, would he, writing it? Sure, executive producer, consultant roles. Yep, absolutely. I could believe that Lucasfilm would be that stupid.
Yep.
But
actually directing it and actually being, no, I know what you're saying.
And especially in the environment now, I'd be like if I'm Iger, I'd be like, absolutely not. This fuck has no fucking experience. Like, who's going to be babysitting him the entire fucking time to make sure that he knows what the fuck he's doing?
Yeah, Jon Favreau. All right, and last but not least, I just wanted to watch this with you guys. So we all know who this is, Justina Ireland, one of the writers of the High Republic. I got tagged in this by Blabs. Thanks, Blabs. So this is on Instagram's Star Wars Instagram account.
Your fault for being on Instagram.
Yeah, let's take a listen. Oh, better turn the volume on before I push play. Shush you. I'll be there in a second.
It's not a Star War without some murder. You can take that out.
But she said it's not a Star War. She's trolling everybody that's using the whole Leslie Headland saying or the Star War.
When we arrive at the opening of the Eye of Darkness, it's a year after the events of Starlight Beacon's fall. Fans can expect to see those Jedi trying to figure out what to do, how to get in touch with the people who are trapped on the other side of the Occlusion Zone. Things are not in a good place.
The beginning of the High Republic Marvel run, we see...
See, all of what he just said is complete jargon because I don't care, and a lot of people out there don't care about the High Republic. And the evidence of that, again, I'm going to just point this out once again. At Star Wars Celebration, when they were talking about High Republic and stuff, there was literally like 3 people clapping, 3 people cheering for it. When he mentioned something, one of the writers, he's up on stage and he mentions something and he pauses so that the crowd can be like, oh, he said the thing, and nobody does. Like that tells you.
It was like a Jeb Bush, like, please clap.
It was so very much like that. I think it was actually this guy that was talking now. Yeah, like nobody gives a fuck. And that's it's such a contrast to how people used to care about the EU or still do care about the EU in comparison to this new expanded universe that they're coming out with the High Republic.
Jedi Master Keeve Trennis. She is on the very edge of the frontier. And Keeve, who is on board the Geos, named after a certain dear departed Jedi. I can't believe he's dead. I don't think he is. Is he? Yes.
Shadows of Starlight is a fantastic project. It's a 4-issue miniseries. Each one of those issues starts at the fall of Starlight and moves forward through the 12 months until by the end of it, you have a pretty solid picture of what's happened to the galaxy in the missing time. Burry lives.
The covers that I made, this will blow your mind. You never expect this one to happen. You're going to be excited for this.
Phase 3 is more about triumph. It's about seeing the Jedi come back when they're on the back foot. A lot of their favorite characters making new moves in a way that feels fresh and exciting. It's not a Star Wars without some murder.
It's not a Star Wars without some murder. Anyway, that is that. Let's get back to this and we'll wrap up. Yes, all right, I'm finishing and I'll feed you in a second. Calm your farm. Yeah, I knew you were going to do that. All right, guys, let's see. Who have we got? Who have we got for this week's Seal of the Week? I'm ending the poll with 13 votes in. Thank you. I know this has obviously gone later than usual because we started later than usual and we've still got 19 people here. Thank you guys for hanging in there. Let me get this poll ended. Okay, so in last place with 15% of the vote was number 2, OG, saying, how anyone could say The Last Jedi isn't a great film, isn't a great, Star Wars film is baffling to me. It's art. As the runner-up is number 1, Fred, saying, telling you all right now, the Ahsoka series is going to be the best live-action Star Wars series of all time, and it won't be close. Better than Boba Fett, better than Kenobi, better than Andor, and yes, better than The Mandalorian. And the winner, he wins another title, is Dan, saying, I have seen The Last Jedi over 60 times. Thank you guys for contributing. Thank you for being a part of Seal of the Week. And well done, Dan. You win another title. He must have 5 under his belt by now. And congratulations on your Seal of the Week title.
I'm all the Jedi.
AI Privilege, thank you for sharing that. We are going to watch that right now.
What?
Yep. So, over on Star Wars YouTube channel, they literally 7 minutes ago dropped a new Ahsoka teaser. It's 46 seconds long. Now or Never, it's called. This is just the shorts.
Fine, I choose never.
Yeah. These are the little shorts and shit that they always come out with as we're leading up to. I wonder if we're going to see anything new. But let's take a look, shall we? Tell me if we don't have audio. We should, though.
There's so few Jedi left.
That's kind of new.
She's coming.
That's new.
Our enemies are multiplying. The galaxy is not safe. I could use the help.
It's now or never.
Once a rebel, always a rebel.
Hunt them down.
This is where it gets interesting.
Get ready. Ready.
Ready.
Ahsoka, 2-episode premiere August 23rd.
Hey, well, we'll give them credit for the fact that they actually released a whole lot of new images and stuff like that. Because normally when they do these things, it's literally just stuff that we've seen from the main trailer. This scene,
yes, I
obviously,
can't get enough of lightsabers turning on. That is Star Wars to me. Like, if you don't have like at least 20, 25 shots of people turning on their lightsabers, then I'm just not interested.
But this is the other thing too, to all of those people out there that said that, oh, you can't enjoy Star Wars without the lightsabers and shit like that. You watch me. This is going to have that many lightsabers in it, and I'll still tell you that it's fucking shit.
I'm sorry, Hera looks like shit.
Yeah, she does. She does.
She looks like shit. Ahsoka looks like shit.
Chopper's probably the only one that actually looks any good. And it's because he's a fucking droid. You can't really fuck that up, can you?
Oh, they'll fuck it up.
Yeah. Oh, live action Ghost. There he is. Anyway, there you go. Little teaser for you for the Ahsoka series coming out soon.
Can't wait to not watch it.
Yep. I can't wait to review it for all of you guys. But I can definitely wait to watch it. Like, what I mean by that is, like, I'm not necessarily looking forward to it. That's it, guys. Thank you all for being here. Greg, thanks for coming on and sticking around for the entire stream. I know it must be pretty early in the morning for you now, isn't it?
2:11 a.m.
Yeah. So thank you for hanging around for the entire stream. Thanks to Tim for coming on for that early discussion about the Side Scrollers chat that we had. If you want to go check that out, go over to Side Scrollers and check out that stream that we did earlier this morning. Thanks to Alora for coming on, OG Star Wars, and having a discussion about her, the one that she loves to stalk. And thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you to the members. Thank you to the super chatters. You guys are all awesome. I appreciate all of you. Is there anything that you want to plug, Greg?
The spacing tomorrow night.
Spacing, yeah. Go over to Tim Open Airlock Policies channel. You'll see Greg over there tomorrow night, as well as Alora, and
probably in as ranty of a mood as I was earlier.
Yeah,
I'm like low key now because I'm winding down. You know.
Yeah, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. All right. Thanks, guys. Oh, as for me, tomorrow we've got the Back of the Ute stream over on the Full Aussie channel. If you're not subscribed to the Full Aussie channel, go and subscribe. We got that channel monetized, which is awesome. So go over and check that out. And then on Sunday, you can find me on Flashcast. All right, guys. I'll see you all very, very soon. Bye.
They came bounding over.
Fuck off! Disney! You fucking cunt!
A few minutes? Are you kidding? At the rate they're gaining?
No, what is it? You have to shoot this. Traveling through hyperspace is like dusting, ain't like dusting crops, kid. Without precise calculations, we fly too close to a store. They're bounce into a supermarket and then...
Yeah.
Be a hell of a mess.
What's that?
Watch. We're losing the deflector shields. Go strap yourselves in. Be careful on the way out.
Yeah, sure. I'm taking it very cautiously.
You go away.
We bounced too near a supermarket?